All right, all right, all right. Hey, what's up? It's your girl Neek, and you're tuned in to Neek at Night. And tonight I have a special guest by the name of Emerald Stone. Now, if you guys have been on social media and you have been seeing that clip go around where there's this guy saying Karmelo Anthony should be hung by a tree, that's his work. He has been outside documenting for his company or you
Yeah, from my
Instagram.
page.
Instagram.
Yeah, for my Instagram.
Okay. And so today he was inside the courtroom for the closing arguments. Outside of today, I have been there every single day inside the courtroom, looking at the jury, seeing how this whole process went down. And to even go back further, I started my introduction into this case with trying to get credentials to be the media or one of the media seats that is inside the courtroom. So we're going to go over what he saw today when it was closing arguments. I'm going to give you guys insights on what I know about the whole process that has been happening. We're going to do like a call section where some of you guys come up and speak. But we're going to do that right after this intro. So give yourself some time to go grab some snacks, or whatever you need. And we'll be right back.
We are out here in Beverly Hills with Raz B. I haven't seen you on the scene in a minute, so let the people know what you've been up to. Hey, what's up? I got Amara La Negra here with me tonight at the A Toast to Young Hollywood event. Hey guys, so I have the beautiful Layla Ali with me tonight. So I just want to first start off by saying your Instagram is an inspiration to go on a path to eat healthy. And, it is your 50th birthday. You don't look a day over 25.
You know what?
Let us know how you do it.
First, everybody always say that. I think that's so cliche, and people know you don't look 25. Now, if you would have said maybe 40.
Hey, what's up? You're watching Neek at Night, and we have Keith Powers with us tonight.
Hey, how you doing?
A lot of girls was like putting you as their, man crush, and you was their, aspiration to take you off the market. And when you came out with Bay, you crushed a lot of people. Like, Hey guys, so I have Daniel Cormier with me tonight, and it's crazy because my first UFC fight happened to be your fight.
I'm glad you were able to watch the first fight and it was mine and I won, because that could be some bad memories.
Right. I mean, okay, I'm not gonna lie. When I first seen it and I seen him
I
come,
was gonna get my ass kicked.
Yeah.
Look at you.
I'm not gonna tell a lie. Okay, I'm gonna keep it honest. Definitely experience, you guys. That's Amarion, and we're at his word for word screening. It was super dope. Make sure you check it out. It drops tomorrow, and you don't want to miss it.
Thank you, baby.
Thank you.
It's your partner, Big Boy. What's happening in the voice of Los Angeles? Hello. You know what I do at night? I watch Neek at Night. Show you right. You thought I was going to say something crazy. Thought I was going to say something disgusting and nasty. Yeah. But guess what? When I watch that Neek at Night, I may be doing something disgusting and nasty. Look at her. Hello.
Hey, what's up? It's your girl Neek, and you're tuned in to Neek at Night. If this is your first time here, over here we are the Night Owls. If you have not hit that subscribe button, I want you to go ahead and do that right now and turn on your notification bell so you're notified when I post another video. But just know, keep in mind that over here, this is an acquired taste. You know what I'm saying? This ain't for everybody. This is a channel where I talk about celebrity news and gossip and give my opinion on trending stories. I'm a woman who has a website as well. I sell lingerie, adult toys, sexy pajamas, and I even got stuff for going out to the club, nighttime wear, all of those goodies for you as well. You can find this along with a whole bunch of other new goodies. You can find this at www.neekatnight.com. I'm just going to do a live video and we're going to get this done, and it's going to be bada bing, bada boom.
All right. All right. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Waiting on Neek. She's coming in right now.
All right, so let's get this thing going. So you were outside today, and what we're going to start off with going to Emerald's Instagram page because he was outside this morning. He was catching some of the clips that were happening. So I'm going to show you guys some of the things that he was able to capture out there. And then we're going to get into my thoughts, my feelings about things. Let's show when he arrived, I think after opening statements. And then we're going to go into some more clips. So let me pull this up really quickly for you guys. And y'all let me know what y'all think, what y'all feel, how y'all feel about it. So let me play this. And also make sure you go follow Emerald. His Instagram is on the screen right here. We'll zoom in so you guys can see. It is Emerald. And then instead of the O in stone, there's an X in the middle. Let's play his clip. And then I'm going to play the clip that he had that was going viral as well.
Everyone, so I'm outside of the Collin County Courthouse for the Karmelo Anthony case. And I mean, a lot is going on right now. Currently, the jury is deliberating. They're trying to figure out what.
Wait, does that song have copyright?
No, I don't know. That was like a Christian song in the background that they were singing.
Oh,
they were singing. Yeah, that was the church.
Oh, at that was
yeah,
okay.
They were playing. The verdict is there are two main things though that I figured out in this trial. One of them is that there's a rumor going around that this is an all-white jury. This is not an all-white jury. I've seen Southeast Asians, Central Asians. I've seen someone that seemed like they were maybe Arab. So there's a diverse crowd, but there are no black people on the jury. Secondly, there's something that came to mind is that they kept on repeating a statement that Karmelo Anthony said to Austin Metcalf. And that statement was, touch me and find out.
All right. So I'm going to pause it right there because I don't know if that is going to flag any copyright. But we're going to go on over to his video where he showed that Karmelo was found guilty. And we're going to go from there.
Karmelo Anthony has been found guilty of murder. Right about now, you can see tensions are really, really high. People are fighting, yelling arguments, having arguments, etc. So, you know, we're praying that everything goes smooth. So, yeah. So, I mean, let me know what y'all think. Is this right? How do y'all feel about this? Karmelo Anthony has...
So right there, what I noticed is you looked a little like fidgety and like like shifting around. How did you feel from like listening to the opening statement and then hearing the verdict and then just...
I would just say like I'm fidgety because my heart, just like everyone around me at that point, my heart was broken.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just to hear the news. And I think we felt like a collective heartbreak there. You know, people were crying, people were yelling, people were acting out. And, you know, if you look at the video, you can see the kind of like the pain in my eyes, but also everyone around us kind of shared that same pain because we knew that, you know, an injustice had been done once again in Collin County.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was heartbreaking. So it was tough to get through that video.
Yeah. So somebody in the comments said, Nick, you sound a little too happy. Actually, not even going to address that because the week that I had, like, if I feel like I have my bearings, that's good to me. Like, it has been a tough week for everybody outside covering this case. You guys have seen everything that all of the independent journalists that have been out there have been going through. There has been a targeted attack on Karmelo's family. The whole system was rigged from the start. And it wasn't just a situation to where it's like, damn, it's like they're going to railroad him. Like, I just felt like it was just something in the pit of my stomach. It just wasn't right. But not only that, it was a campaign being executed on anybody that was trying to cover it, any Black voice that was out there trying to tell the truth of what was going on. It seems like there was all of these hurdles and things where it just was unsettling. There was a lot of unsettling feelings out there, but I would just bring back to the jury selection. I've been in the court every single day of this process, except for the day for safety reasons. I wanted to be there so bad. I even called him and I was like, hey, should I head up there? What should I do? I don't know. My mom is like terrified. She did not want me to go. My family's like, don't go. But in my gut, I felt like I failed my mission into covering this case by not going. But this situation is so much bigger than me, Karmelo, my ego and everything like that, that it just was important to just process it and take it all in for what it's worth. Starting from the jury selection, I was in the overflow room when they were picking the jury. And as you guys know, I reported to you guys and I told you there was 2 Black men who X'd their self out, and they said that they did not want to be a contributing factor. I would have to look at my notes to see the exact quote, but he said that he didn't want to be on, hold on, matter of fact, let me get my notes so I could be correct. But he said that he didn't want to be on the jury because he didn't want to put a Black brother in jail. Let me find my exact quote. I got notebooks out the yin yang, so I took notes every single day, and I filled up each of these notebooks, and they're all like organized based on the day that I covered it. But I want to quote. Okay, so this was jury selection. I want to quote what the Black brother said, because I notated it in my notes, because I want to have a moment to speak to him, both of them specifically. But let me find out where it is. Sorry, one moment. You could talk in the meantime if there's anything you want to talk. Oh, I found it. So these is my notes that I took in real time. And he said, I don't know that I will feel right putting a brother in jail. So this was one of the jurors that said that. And then after he said, I don't know if I would feel right putting a brother in jail, there was another Black man who also made another comment. And he also said similar sentiments as well to cancel himself out of the jury. He knows good and well that that was going to eliminate him from being off the jury. And I think that the wrong message was canceling yourself so you don't put him in jail. The right message would have been making sure that you got on the jury, so you made sure that the process was fair. Okay, you put him further in jail by eliminating yourself, etc. But let's go into some of the testimony. I know that you've been hearing some of the students have conflicting stories and say, touch me and find out. I know that was something that came up in closing arguments. And then there were kids who said other statements other than that. Can you expound on like what they were highlighting today when they brung that up?
Yeah, absolutely. So, there was obviously, defense. I'm going to be honest. Can I keep it honest on here, how I feel about the defense?
Yeah.
Because for me personally, the defense was very, very weak. And this is not something that I'm just saying just for myself, but other people in the jury had this sentiment as well. Not the jury, sorry. The spectators also saw that when we all came out, it was like, why was the defense so weak? Why was he so easy? So for us, it was kind of disappointing. But some of the things that was mentioned by the defense was that I'll start with the defense and then I can go into the state. Is that Austin said, if you don't move, I'll beat your ASS. And then he went on to say that in Texas law, it doesn't necessarily require you to get hit before you actually attack to go to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
He went on to say that in the defense that the knife itself, the way that the knife had plunged into the body of Austin Metcalf, was in a horizontal way, very like sideways way, which would be an awkward way to stab someone. So he was trying to essentially like say that if you were to stab someone, it'd be straight or like this, if you were intentionally trying to do so in a way that was meant to unalive them.
Mm-hmm.
So if more so on the conversation that was had, I did take notes on the conversation that they had mentioned. They said if you want me to move, you're going to have to move me. This is what what they said that Karmelo was saying to Austin, if you want me to move, you're going to have to move me. And he went on to say, I'm not leaving. Forget y'all. And that forget is the F word, F y'all. And you are all a bunch of PUSSYs.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, they quoted Austin saying, you're a BITCH. And at that point, the response from Karmelo was, show me I'm a BITCH.
Mm-hmm.
And then at this point, he moves forward toward Karmelo. Austin moves forward toward Karmelo. And then we see, touch me and see what happens. At that point of touch me and see what happens, Austin touched him.
Yeah.
So
what he was just reading was some of the highlighted things that the state pointed out to prove that he provoked this. Mm-hmm. So they were trying to say, well, because he didn't leave, he provoked it. And because he said these things to them talking to him, he provoked it. And they were kind of laying out the picture of why this was a murder. And I feel like it was a disservice to Karmelo Anthony to not have somebody to understand the different, like one of the teachers who was in jury selection doing voir dire, she said that there's so many social economical classes, there's so many nuances, and it was so important for somebody like that to come in as an expert. Now, one thing that I will say is, even though it's like you're looking at this and I'm disappointed in the performance of the defense, one thing that I have to make very clear is we don't know what rulings were made prior to court, right? So like when I covered the Diddy trial, and we were able to see what motions the defense made and what motions the state made. And we were able to see what the judge granted and what they didn't grant, or what they tried to admit into evidence, and all of these things. In this case, all of the pretrial motions were sealed. Okay, so we could not see what Karmelo's team tried to get entered into evidence. We did not see what things were blocked from entering into evidence. So this could be, and I'm still trying to, like, even though I'm disappointed in the lawyer, I'm also thinking, like, what was he battling in the first place as far as like what's able to be admitted? Was he able to even bring an expert in, or what the deal is? I would like to know, because that's, yeah, that's important.
Well, one thing that I also heard, some people mentioned was that the actual judge was just, cutting down the defense. Every angle that the defense tried to work, the judge just kept on cutting him. Very dismissive about everything that was brought up by the defense. So the judge played a big role in this as well, because I remember the second I saw him, there was a kind of like a weight on his face, almost like that there was a chip on his shoulder. So it kind of, at that point, it became apparent to many of us that it wouldn't be, probably wouldn't go well. It didn't. So
yeah, it was interesting. Let me know what you felt like. What was the atmosphere like outside when the verdict was read?
Oh, okay. So, it was, well, I can give you like a little bit beforehand and then kind of leading into it, because before it was getting tense. People were starting to talk with the other side and start little arguments, and people were getting in people's faces. By the time that we actually got to the verdict, the heat was already turned up. It wasn't it wasn't that the verdict hit and the heat turned up. It was already like very, very close as we felt it approaching. And when it finally came, it was almost like a climax was hit. So built up, and a climax was hit. And then, of course, we see there's many videos out there of people falling to the ground in tears. There's, videos of people screaming in anger and, and just kind of tired of the suffering. So it was heartbreaking was the word I used earlier. So yeah, it was very heartbreaking, like a collective heartbreak.
And then you've seen like different people getting in different people's faces and saying, like, just the energy between them. I'm going to show you guys some of the videos that was outside of the courtroom that I was able to see on social media. Let me show you guys 1 second. This is one of the news reporters that was outside, and it captured some of the essence. And if Emerald has any videos, we'll play those as well. But let me share this with you guys. And again, his name is Emerald Stone on Instagram, and I'll show you guys his IG in a second, because a lot of you were like, "Oh, who's this guy, Nick? Who's that?" So let me share with you guys this video.
Just got some notes from our local reporter who is inside the courtroom. So when that guilty verdict was read, I'm told that Karmelo Anthony was crying. He was shaking. His defense attorney kept his arm around his shoulders the entire time. And also I'm told that Austin Metcalf's twin brother, Hunter, this was the first time he was inside the courtroom when that guilty verdict was read. I'm told it was really emotional from both sides after that murder verdict. And as for what's next, Will, now it's the sentencing phase. He is charged with murder, so he could face up to life in prison. The same exact juror, they're the ones who decide how long he remains behind bars. And that's what this sentencing phase sentencing phase is. That reporter inside the courtroom tells me that Karmelo Anthony's mother, she's already taken the stand. This is a direct quote. She said, quote, "He is my oldest, my firstborn, my baby. I love him very much." I'm told that she had mascara running down her face and asked the jury, quote, "Please have mercy on my son." And then the prosecutor sort of cross-examined her and said, "Isn't it true you could still have a relationship with your son while he's behind bars?" So this is sort of the next phase.
Like, how can you imagine your son defended himself and he was stacked against the odds, right? He went up there to see a boy who he thought he was cool with. He turned on him. You got these two big buff, like I want to say buff, but these big broad-shouldered linebacker football players, and the whole entire track, like not the entire track team, but like a group of them all screaming out to him, "Yeah, you don't belong here. You need to go," laughing at him like, "Oh, you from Frisco. You ain't got nothing in that bag." Like testing him. And then he's the one where they flip the script. When they put their hands on him, he never gets out of his seat. He's sitting down the whole time. He's just making sure that he got protection on him. They're all like, one is putting out his phone, acting like he's recording. Another one is like, "Boy, you from Frisco. You ain't got nothing." Austin's also telling him he's from Frisco. He ain't got nothing. Another juror who's a black boy, he testified and he said, "I thought it was funny. I laughed. We were laughing at him." So you have teenage boys laughing at him, trying to intimidate him, get in his face. And then you go as far as to go and put your hands on me. And the prosecutor tells your mom, "Well, good luck." Like, you can still have a relationship with him in jail. Like, what? Like, excuse me? That's crazy. Do you want to chime in, or I'll play some more?
Well, yeah, I did send you a video I just messaged you one in DM of some of the energy of what was going on out there. And yeah, no, all in all, it just felt like the second you walked into the courtroom, everything felt set. The jury felt set. The judge felt set. Everything felt set. Like, it felt like for me personally, a losing situation. Yeah. And it was kind of hopeless. It's one of those situations where you're like praying for like justice, and then justice actually wasn't served. So yeah, very, very, very kind of frozen feeling in the room, while outside was hitting a climax.
Yeah, somebody's saying, you guys are telling me to read somebody's comment. I don't see it. Oh wait, it's a group on Facebook. You're being targeted. I don't know why, but they had your kid on there, even her fucking school, your family address, all type of hateful comments. Oh, this is what you guys are talking about. What group? What's the name of the group? What's the name of the group? DM me and let me know. If my child is on any page, if her school is on any page, if my address is on any page, all of that would be a result of it's called snitch at night. Interesting. Oh, can you have me my phone right there? Let me check. Let me see. I don't. Y'all have to send me a link. I don't see any. I don't see it. Let me see. I don't see it on my thing, but
Yeah, you're gonna have to send a link.
Yeah, you gotta send me a link. I don't see it.
Is he Colin Kaepernick? Yes.
And is the sound coming through? Is it coming through? Let me know. But anyways, enough of that. Yeah. I'm not worried about that because if my address, if my social media or anything that's not like public is on any group or any page, I will be taking legal action. I'm going to be holding Sarah J. Fields accountable for all of the targeted attacks against me. And I would like to know if there is anything like that out there. I would like you guys to screenshot it, document it, and send it to me because all targeted attacks against me, all of these racial comments where people are discrediting me and all of these things that are affecting my physical job of being a media reporter, and if anything hinders the ability for my child to maintain the safety in her school or anything like that, we will be taking legal action. We have already started looking into different legal channels. There is a lot of people to be held accountable, but I need you guys' help in documenting. So definitely will not be playing any games with any fucking body that plays with the safety of my child, plays with the safety of my well-being, and anything like that. So I just want to make that clear. But with that being said, we're not going to spend too much time on it because we will be holding Sarah Fields accountable. And that's not, I'm not playing. Like, you could think I'm playing if you want to. She can think that these little frivolous lawsuits that she has all these other people tied into is, you know what I mean? Because they're going through the legal process is something, baby, play with it. Okay, so anyways.
You know, one thing about today's case, just today's court case, it was very short. It was like surprisingly short. I mean, it was 30 minutes each.
That's how it was for the opening statements. They were 20 minutes each.
Yeah. So I mean, and it for some reason it felt like the judge gave the state a little bit more time, but that was just maybe that's just my own bias. But but it was 30 minutes each. And then one thing I think is notable to mention is that the jury came back with a verdict like very fast. Like we were thinking that, you know, maybe give it a couple hours, you know, maybe even overnight because they were potentially going to put them in a hotel and what have you. They came in about, I would say, in about an hour or so with a verdict, which then again feeds to the idea of them already having their mindset the whole time. Yeah.
I mean, they had their mind made up. And before I go, I want to thank Cody for the good luck. Yeah, I mean, yeah, thanks for wishing good luck because my luck is going to always prevail. So just like my luck prevailed during this case, every day that I showed up, I made it inside the courtroom, not cutting any goddamn body, showing up where I needed to show up, making sure that I was there, and luckily made it into the building. So luck is always on my side. So thank you, Cody, for wishing good luck because it's yeah, like favor ain't fair. So I mean, thank you. Anyways, off of that, let's see. There was so much to go over. Let's revisit Eddie's testimony because I just find it crazy how a jury can look at Eddie lie, right? He downplayed his relationship with Karmelo Anthony. He acted like he didn't really know him like that. He was talking about how, well, I knew him maybe 2 to 3 times. I didn't really know him like that. Like, we weren't really cool like that. But then when it was time for the defense to show the relationship that they had, there's family photos, and almost like a lot of them were happening at Eddie's house. The fact that a jury can look at this and not put themselves in his shoes says a lot. But as I've been reporting to you guys, I told you, I said, when y'all asked me, what do I think about the jury? I said, listen, that's not a jury that I would ever want to judge my life. You have every single racial makeup, even though it's not technically all white, you have the makeup of a jury that does not like Black people, period. So you have that. And then I told you guys, when you guys are asking me about what I thought about the jury, I said, listen, there's some white boys who I was like, remember when I was telling you, I said, there's some white boys who they don't look related to Karmelo. I mean, not Karmelo. They don't look related to Austin, but they look like they can be like family, or they look like they can relate to him. And you guys corrected me and you were like, oh, the word that you're looking for is peers. Like, they look like they can be his peers. And I was telling you guys, like, yeah, they look like they could be like running in the same pack. And you can see that this was more based on emotion rather than the facts of the case. Because if you listen to the facts of the case, there's no way that you can get murder, like the first degree murder, off of the facts. If you listen to the pure facts of the case, you get at the minimum manslaughter. Now, I figured that it was a high possibility that it was going to be manslaughter because the defense did not do a good job of bringing the witness back to, no, this was self-defense. Like, every single witness the prosecution ended on, who provoked it? Karmelo. Is it self-defense? No. Was he wrong for bringing a knife? Yes. And the defense didn't have their counter questions so that they can be like, well, isn't there a difference between an authority figure like a coach telling you to leave and a student that's your peer telling you to leave? Because the witness that they had yesterday, they were like, well, when you guys went into the dugout and a coach came in there and told you guys to leave, you left, right? At that moment, I figured that the attorney would say, well, isn't there a difference between a teacher or authoritative figure telling you to leave versus a damn kid that has no right? But you can.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that actually made me think of one thing that the state was arguing. They said that well, the coach was 20 feet away. Or something about 20 feet away. And he's like, he's 20 feet away. Why didn't you go get the coach? Why didn't you go get the coach? And situations don't always happen like that, where you just go get the coach, especially when you're that young. Sometimes the best thing that you can do is defend yourself. The thing that he kept on repeating is that you don't follow up a shove with a stab. And it's like, in my opinion, it's like, says who? Because if someone can hit you, that can kill you.
How many times have we heard of these fights at school with kids where all you got to do is fall back and hit your head? Also, I would have liked his defense to introduce some of that evidence of bringing somebody that, like, what was the relative time, right? I need to look up because there was a couple of cases. I forget, but there was a girl in, I forget her name, but she was at school. They had a fight in the bathroom. She hit her head and she died. Then there was another situation at a school where it wasn't too long ago where they were fighting. I don't know if it was like at a bus stop. The girl hit her head and she died. There's several times of situations where it's not even a weapon and the kid dies. So I want to know, like, was there an incident close in time that could have explained why he had the knife or why he had fear? Because you can't just wait for somebody to get the drop on you. And he's on the bleachers. If he huddles him like a football player, hits his head on it, like anything. Yeah. And the defense.
And that's why they kept on harping on something that I mentioned in the video, which was touch me and find out. Because he kept trying to spin it like a threat. It was a threat. And then, of course, defense was saying, this is a clear warning. He was threatened and then he warned. Mm-hmm. He felt threatened and then he warned. So, another thing that I noticed that the state was didn't want to let go of it was this idea of like oversimplification of it. Like, this is simple. This is murder. This is murder. This is murder. Kept on using the word murder. Yeah. This is a murder trial. This is what we're trying to figure out here. But, the oversimplification of it, I think it made it easy for a jury that was already against Karmelo and a judge that was already against Karmelo, the oversimplification for them to just go from point A to point B.
Yeah. And I know that you're not supposed to be coaching your witnesses or whatever, but one of the witnesses that the defense put on, the prosecution had extensive conversations with him to where he talked to the prosecution, but he made it clear that the defense had only talked to him for 2 minutes prior. And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean you only talked to him for 2 minutes, but he had an extensive conversation with the prosecution? And every single defense witness, even the coach, even his teammates, even everybody, they were like, at the end of the day, he should never had a weapon, right? Correct. At the end of the day, he should have never, this wasn't self-defense, or he should have just listened. Or at the end of the day, if they told him to leave, like, he was like, one boy was trying to establish that him and Karmelo Anthony had been under the memorial tent 10 days prior, right? And that came out in the testimony. And the prosecution at the end, where he was like doing his same, how he leaves off every witness, he said, but if somebody told you that to leave, you would leave, right? Correct. And it's like, I know that you can't tell them what to say, but if somebody tells me to leave, it depends on who's telling me.
Absolutely. And this is an issue, is that I noticed that
35 years.
I don't want to make it.
Hold on 1 second.
Ooh.
Did it come in? Hold on.
I don't see any sentences online right now.
Everybody's saying 35 years, though.
Yeah. I was going to text Nick at night, but you're here.
Yeah. Let me see if Sheba. Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Found guilty, sentenced 35 years.
Hold on, y'all. Let me put it on the screen.
35.
All right, so this is Fox 4K DFW. It says Karmelo Anthony found guilty, sentenced to 35 years in prison. Okay, it says jurors have found Karmelo Anthony guilty of murder for the stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a 2025 track meet. Prosecutors labeled the fatal stadium stabbing a provoked, unjustified sneak attack inside a team tent. While the defense countered that it was a split-second action in self-defense out of fear and chaos, Anthony was sentenced to 35 years in prison. He faced anywhere from 5 to 99 years in prison. The 19-year-old was convicted of murder April 2nd, which is today, for the death of bully Austin Metcalf, who was 17 at the time. And this came out of the Collin County Courthouse, where the jury was sequestered once they start deliberating. And, you know, that's crazy. So it just came in at 7:30 p.m. Right now, for me, it's 7:35 p.m. But the sentence was just announced at 7:30 p.m. The jury sentenced him to 35 years, and he will be eligible for parole after half of that time is served.
I love that you mentioned bully when you said Austin Metcalf. Because I think a big part of it is that, you know, sometimes they feel certain people who mess with people like Karmelo, based on just being black, they feel like they have this sense of authority over us. Like, who made you the authority to tell us to leave the tent? Who made you the authority? Why do you feel like you have to? Do you think you still own us? What's going on? You know, and I think now that he's seeing this, they obviously try to make an example out of him for sure.
I mean, well, the prosecution said make an example. Like that was one of his words in the opening statements. Matter of fact, let me pull up my notepad of opening statements.
Yeah, so they're not even hiding it.
No.
They're not even hiding.
Hold on, I got notepads for days, you guys.
Up for parole in 17 years. It says.
Okay, so let's go over the opening statements. So when I got in, I was looking at the jury. They said that there was going to be 20 minutes for each side for opening. The jury raised their hand. They were sworn in. And at first I put 3 Asian, 2 Indian / like Middle Eastern, but it was actually 3 and 3 because one was a man that was kind of like Indian, Middle Eastern or whatever. Yeah. So then they started out by reading the indictment. And then they asked Karmelo, how does he plead? Guilty, not guilty. And then Karmelo said he pled not guilty. And then I'm going to just read through some of what Bill Werski said in his opening statements. And he basically said that he wanted him to basically make an example out of him. He said, when he was ending in the final words, he said, "You will hear a telltale lie. He lies to Cortez and says, I told him not to touch me. That's a lie. That tells you everything you need to know about his mindset. He tossed the knife immediately after, tried to slip away from the scene. That lie is important. You will start to hear from the witnesses and see the video. This is murder and not self-defense. You can't provoke someone, then take their life. This case is murder, plain and simple. And I expect you to follow the oath and the evidence and find this man guilty." Let me bring it back some, because he definitely said something about like making an example. Let me just bring it back to the top so I don't skip through it. But he said, after Karmelo Anthony pled guilty, he says, "We're all here this morning, Wednesday, April 2nd. And basically, Karmelo decided to take a knife to a track meet and provoke a young man into touching him. He took a knife into his chest, and Austin died because this man did an unjustified, unprovoked murder. This case has nothing to do with race. This case has nothing to do with self-defense. He launched a sneak surprise attack into Austin after goading him into a fight." Or he said something like that. And then he said, "The facts of the case are simple. Murder was simply senseless. You are going to hear more. You are going to see the surveillance video. That video shows the story. After he slipped into the tent, he wouldn't leave. Austin put hands on Melo after he provoked him. He hit him with a knife. This was a provoked, unjustified murder. This is senseless. Let me reset. That morning, Frisco ISD, the track meet, was set to begin. Austin was with Centennial, the school for Karmelo. The coach sent a text to Austin that he needed them to step up and help that morning. The rain began to fall. Some teams went to the buses. Some were on the field. Some with their teams in the tents. 6 minutes, the murder, 6 minutes. Okay, so basically they were like, all of this happened from the time that Karmelo seen the twins and was under the tent to the time that the murder happened in the matter of 6 minutes. From the time of Karmelo seeing the twins into him being arrested in cuffs was 15 minutes. But that came later in testimony. But anyways, he said that all of this happened in the matter of 6 minutes. 6 minutes before the murder, Austin and his brother entered the tent. You will see normal activity in the tent. 2 minutes after Austin enters, Karmelo is visible. He makes a beeline into the memorial tent. You will see more normal activity in the tent. The other kid asked, why was he there? And they wanted to know why or how they treat the tent culture. And he said they treat the tent like a locker room. They want to be able to protect their valuables from theft. And Austin was stepping up and he told him to leave. And after several told him to leave, Austin took the bait. After he goaded him into hitting him, he refused to leave and took his knife and plunged it into Austin. He then runs and tries to blend in and slips out the gate. The kids, once they realized the stabbing, they ran. Once Austin realized he was stabbed, he lifts up his shirt and shows he had been stabbed in the heart. The kids pointed Karmelo out. Right as he tried to leave, he told them, he touched me first, as if that justified the murder he just committed. Officer Cortez heard the call of the stabbing. He runs, he hears the kids, and he activates his body cam, and police detain Austin. They detain Karmelo. You will see body cam. Cortez puts him in custody. Karmelo says, I'm not the alleged suspect. I did it. You will hear him say, he touched me first. You will hear a telltale. That's what I say. He will hear a telltale lie. And then he was saying how it was senseless. Maybe it came later in the testimony, but he definitely told them to send a message. I probably didn't grab it, but I remember.
You know, one thing today that the state actually said that to try to justify, they said that Karmelo said he touched me, right? Or he said if he was getting jumped, wouldn't they have said they touched me? Wouldn't Karmelo have said they touched me if he was getting jumped? But
because they know that the jury is on social media, so there's this guy going viral saying that 4 kids jumped him.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's responding to social media.
So he was trying to like put it like make it seem like it was just a targeted thing, and then but at the same time, even if they did surround him, even if they did. It was Austin that he had stabbed. It was one person. So yes, he touched me would be the proper way to go about that.
And it was one person that put their hands on him.
And it was one person in the first place. But yeah, I do love what you said about him saying that there's this idea of, okay, we need to make an example, because this is the same thing on the video I had showed you earlier of homie saying, yeah, let's lynch him outside. It's the same thing. Let's hang him from a tree. Let's make an example of him so that everybody who sees now knows that you can't approach us in this way. You can't defend yourself if we're the aggressors. You can't do this. So, this has always been their agenda, to scare us in any way possible.
Yeah, and the video that he's talking about, I'm going to show it to you right now. This is what he's talking about when
Trigger warning.
Let me show you guys.
This is their version of making an example out of someone.
Karmelo Anthony should be swinging from the tree outside this courthouse. Karmelo Anthony should be hanging from the tree. He wants to reestablish race relations in this country so that we can get along.
Tensions were high today for the Karmelo Anthony case, who is on trial for the alleged unaliving of Austin Metcalf.
We love our value. They deserve protection too. So, excuse me if I use colorful language like Karmelo Anthony needs to be swinging from a tree. Our people are being hunted by your people.
It's the other way around because for years and years and centuries, white people have killed black people. You deny that? Like have hung black people in trees. Like you said, have enslaved black people, have mass incarcerated black people.
I think it's victim culture. I think it's victim culture, and there's too much. You crack ass motherfucker, you barely made it to the. You got one foot in the grave and one on a banana peel. I'm gonna push you if I get close enough.
Many supporters from each side showed up and gave their side of the story, including Next Gen.
I want to put out how Karmelo feels. He feels like you need 8, 19-year-old child that's fighting for their life.
That's one of our sons,
Yeah.
you know. That's
I'm just coming here to support one of my family friends. You know, I think it's messed up what they did. I'm not saying anything racially, but I'm protesting that somebody that did a crime should be in prison for that crime.
because if the shoe was on the other foot, they wouldn't give a damn. Let's say the community.
I just want to make sure that I capture, like, in my mind, like, everything, how it happens.
I'm Native American. I believe in Christian values. I'm here to stand for these people over on this side. They're animals. They're heathens. They're fucking, they shouldn't even be allowed in this country anymore. They are agreeing that an innocent person should be murdered and the guy should get away. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, but I put some details below about the case. Let me know your thoughts on this.
Karmelo Anthony should be swinging from a tree outside this courthouse.
All right. So that's the video that he was talking about where he said that
This example, this idea of making an example out of black people in any way they can to intimidate us so that we don't tell them F around and find out.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for this super chat. I appreciate you so much. You said, Nick, you are appreciated, and I/we thank you kindly for being present in the moment. Continue safety around you. The Most High sees all, and vengeance is of the Lord. In or out the flesh, always spirit Christ. I don't know if there was more after that, but thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I want to also thank everybody who has sent in super chats. This has not been like any case that I've ever covered. And I want to take a moment to address some things that I saw, and we're going to get back to the commentary about like how we feel, and I'll even open up the lines for you guys to call in and give your thoughts and opinions. Thank you so much to Nikki for the donation as well. Karmelo's fundraiser is still active and is currently receiving donations. Yes, if they have a fundraiser active, donate to them, help them with this appeals process. I think that maybe like, was the lawyer going for ineffective counsel? I don't know, but the lawyering was so bad. I don't know what, but what I want to say is this has been like no other trial that I've covered. And I didn't even do like a mic check to see if the sound is good, but you guys have not complained about the sound. So I assume the sound has been good and it's picking up, or I don't know. Cause I'm like, should I bring the mic closer to us, or is the sound perfect? But anyways, anytime that I come to cover any case, normally I'm used to maybe a peer, like maybe another social media reporter try to compete, and we have like this, like, not like this, like rivalry for real, but like it's like competition where they throwing shade, or you might not be on the same page. I'm used to stuff like that. I don't care about stuff like that because I'm not in competition with anybody. I know what's for me is for me. And so, but I understand those sentiments. Like, people, they get mad at your coverage if your coverage is doing good, and you start getting little energies like that. But nothing of this magnitude have I ever experienced covering a case. I seen when It's On Site had reposted the video where I was crying, and it was so disappointing to see a lot of people in our community tell me that I don't need to be human in the moment, and I don't need to express my frustration so that because they're watching. I think that in situations like this, it is important to document and show what they're doing so that everybody can see what's happening. I am a California resident. I'm not from a red state. I'm from where it's kind of liberal. I know that racism happens. And I know that there are police officers that have killed Black people and gotten off, etc. But I know that, like, I don't really like trust police, but I've kind of been like, well, if I ever have an issue, I can count on the police. You get what I'm saying? You guys don't understand what message has been sent throughout this entire thing. And I'm gonna just briefly talk to y'all about how it's been for me, because in the moment when I broke down, it wasn't because she's showing like she's weak, or no, it was just I came out being disappointed in like the process, and I'm like, what is, like, in my mind, what is happening with this lawyer? What, like, I'm like, oh my God, like it's not going well. It's not like the things that should have been like happening as far as like discrediting witnesses or making certain points. None of those had happened at that point. So there's that. Then you have the sheriffs of this court. Then you have the court. Then you have everything like that. I documented, right? Like normally if I have a problem, I go to the police like, hey, I got a problem. And they kind of are the neutral party, right? They make sure that peace is amongst the group. I bigged up the sheriffs in the beginning, and I talked to y'all about how nice they were. I was like, oh my God, everybody's so nice. Mm-hmm. Everybody's so sweet. Mm-hmm. And it was so many comments of y'all. They said, Neek, don't be fooled. Watch your back. Yep. They're smiling your face, but they racist. Mm-hmm. I'm like, but they're nice. What do you mean?
Can't trust them.
Like, I'm like, what are you guys talking about? I was like, these people are so nice. Like, I was like, normally whenever I go to a trial, it's unnecessarily like flexing, like, being authoritative, like, and being macho for no reason and mishandling people just because. But I was like, I don't feel that. Well, as the trial went on, that changed. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to just tell y'all something real quick. And I know y'all say I ramble, I don't get straight to the point, but I be feeling like every detail is important. So Friday, June 5th, I arrive at the courthouse. I am one of the people that get into the room, and Sarah, or whoever this bimbo is, she starts, trying to get her audience to, target anybody who has amazing coverage, as hers is dry. It's not like, the only reason they listen to her because they're racist and she has racist views, not because the commentary is good, the delivery is good, or that she's a good like person to tell like the facts. She can't even tell two Black people apart. So anyways, but outside of that, basically what happened was I go to the courthouse to cover the trial like I've covered any other trial that I've covered. And I come out, and as I'm walking to my car, I see one of her goons recording me get in my car. And I see him recording me, and a lot of her followers, because they hate Black people, they don't critically think, and because they don't use common sense, I'm coming out of a courthouse where phones are not allowed, because a lot of them were like, well, if he was recording you when you got in your car, where's the video? The video is the courthouse surveillance. And hopefully you guys can petition the public information office for that. And hopefully a lot of you guys put in something in writing to the Texas Public Records Office for that footage. I'm going to do my part. Hopefully you guys can do your part. June 5th around 11 to 11:30 a.m. I go outside. I see, the first break happened around 10. I go outside. I see that this guy is filming me get in my car. And so I'm like, this what we doing? Like, to myself, I'm thinking like, this is what we doing? And so I go check on my phone because my daughter is with my mom. I had to make sure that she's okay, you know, and etc. I call over Gerald from the NCB and I tell him, I said, hey, you know, telling him like, oh, watch him. And I have to go over Gerald's footage from that day. I have to like listen for it, but I tell him like, watch him. I go into the courthouse to listen to more testimony. And anytime we go into the courthouse, we can't bring any electronic devices. You can bring a phone into the courthouse halls, but you cannot bring a phone into the courthouse, the courtroom. So you can bring it into the courthouse. You can't bring it into the courtroom. I have been in the courtroom every single day. So why bring a phone that I can't bring in, whatever. So I go in, I don't have my phone, I don't have my devices because I'm inside the courtroom. I come out and at this point, it's around maybe like 11:20, 11:25. I go to my car and this bimbo in her goon is parked next to me. And so I'm like, what is this? Like, the hell? Like, you know, so I called Gerald over there again and I'm telling him like, do you see this? You know, telling him that they done parked next to my car. So I said, you know what? Let me move my car and let me move from parked next to them or whatever. As I go to my car, they get out the car and they stand off to the side talking to their token black girl, which anyways, so they're talking to their little token that they, you know, look, I have a black friend, you know, that typical person or whatever. So they're talking to their token. And I'm like, dang, it sucks that she doesn't have black friends because I would suggest like hair products or certain things that would, but anyways, let's not get off track. But so they're talking to their token and I move my car and I was like, well, before I move, I like get my phone out and I record, right? And as I record, it's their like her goon, the bimbo, and then their token. And I move my car. And immediately when I move my car, I go straight inside the courthouse and I report it. So I'm talking to two officers, Fossil and Burry, and I'm talking to them. And I noticed their names on their badges. I'm talking to them and I point and I tell them like, hey, this girl has been trying to rage bait people online. They just like, he was filming me get to my car and now they're parked next to me. And I was like, that's weird. I said, I don't know if I'm being paranoid, but that's kind of suspicious. Like this open parking lot and you just see me get in my car and now you're parked next to me. And so one of the officers, he pulls out his phone and he pulls up her Facebook and shows me, he says, are you talking about such and such? And I'm like, yeah. So as he's showing me her Instagram, that let me know they know that she doing this bullshit. And he knew exactly who it was because he pulled her page right up. So he pulls her page up and I was like, yeah, that's her or whatever. And then the other guy's like, yeah, that's kind of suspicious. Like he was like, I'm going to report it. And so that people can like, one of the officers can like have a conversation. So I do that. And as I'm doing that, bimbo, the redhead bimbo, she's walking in and she sees me talking to the officer and pointing that their behavior. And so I go up, I go into the courthouse, I come out, and one of the girls who was covering it, she said, hey, she went up to the sheriffs and she was telling them something. And she was telling them that you cutting her in line and like making up this whole story about you and doing all this stuff. And hit me up. I didn't get your socials, but hit me up because she overheard. Then another person comes up to me and tells me, hey, she was telling the sheriff stuff about you, all this stuff. So I'm like, they could look up the cameras. Anytime she walking around, I make sure I go the other way. Anytime she go to the bathroom, I make sure I'm not in any closed quarters with her. I don't be around her at all. Nothing. So the next day after that was Saturday. We line up and we're in line before we go into the courtroom. I mean, not the courtroom, but we line up as the 27 that's going to get into the courtroom. One of the officers, he positioned himself by me, like he's like adjacent to me. He positions himself by me. And then Bimbo, like the redhead pigeon-toed Bimbo, that like walks and wears these pinstripe pants that the trial was only like 6 or 7 days and she's already wearing the same stuff more than once. It's weird. I don't know. She has all this money, but I was like, girl. Anyways, so she's like 4 people at the end where he could have like went up to her and talked to her, but he's like adjacent to me and he looks over to her when he could have just walked up and spoke to her. And he tells her, oh, I talked to your boy. He's good. This was the Sheriff Holcomb at this point in time. And this was around, they probably, maybe I'm going to estimate it to be between 6:30 and 7 a.m. because they open up the courthouse at 7. So he tells her, I talked to your boy. He's good. But he doesn't, like, he's closer to me saying it after I just reported her and them the day before. And I don't know what he meant by that, but I took that as him trying to let me know that they're good to continue their harassment and they know that she's doing it. That's how I took it. Okay. But my perception is my perception.
If I can add one part today, you know, we had got there at about 3:30 a.m. Just to get into the courthouse. And, you know, I think the earliest people, which were some of Austin's friends, were there about 2:15. That's like to become number 1, you had to be there at 2:15 if you wanted to get in. But Sarah just so happened to be in front of me.
The bimbo, okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, the bimbo just so happened to be in front of me. And I didn't really know who she was. I didn't know much about her. But you know, this specific individual had two people with her, two tall men. Behind me, there were people who seemed like they watched Nick at Night. There were 2 people, maybe 3 of your supporters, and the gentleman next to her, if we're gonna call him that, next to her started like taking photos and videos of them behind us. Immediately, they were like, "Why are you taking videos of us?" Started calling her the leprechaun. We were like, "Yo, you need
that's a good representation."
Yeah, they were like, "You need to go film your leprechaun." Like behind me, this is like 3 a.m. We all tired, but like they're like, you know, like
they bring me up or something, and they
didn't say your name. Not that I heard, but that specific individual had a camera and was aiming it at them so much that they started, you know, it actually started a beef. So yeah, it was kind of a sticky situation that we kind of had to diffuse, you know. So yeah.
But that's what they're doing though. But so my point, and you guys are like, what's the point? My point was me being there. Normally, if I have a situation with an individual or another content creator, I feel like if I go to the police, they're going to neutralize and kind of like hold us both accountable to like leave each other alone.
Yeah.
In that moment, I felt like that was a signal that they were able to continue their harassment of people and they were okay to do that. And so then come, you know, to like fast forward, like, we carry out the day. I'm like, wow, like where all of these officers were nice to me before, like they're like giving me a certain particular look. Like I remember I was trying to say something to the Sheriff Briscoe and I was like, did he just ignore me? You know, he was talking to a woman and then I was trying to like say something to him and then like he's like talking to her and then he was completely nice before that. And then immediately he just started ignoring me. And I was like, wow, you know, and I'm like, anybody has any questions about my ethics? I've never followed this bitch. She's not that important. I've never said anything to this bitch. She's not that important. I've never threatened her because she's clearly not that important. But if there was an actual threat to her life, which I believe is imaginary and made up, they can look on the surveillance and verify. Now, fast forward to when I broke down and I started crying. It wasn't the fact that I like, you know, because people were like, oh, you're weak, this and that. In that moment when they were those pathetic grown men were trying to like eyeball me and try to flex their muscle on an imaginary threat that nobody gives a fuck about her, to like, there's no threat to her life. I would never even put my hands on her. I would never even raise my voice at her because she's not that significant. And I would just never put myself in that situation because I know the odds are stacked. However, when her little, I guess her muscle, they were goofy little white boys, not little, but goofy white looking boys. But it wasn't even the fact that of that, it just was, you know, one guy has his ski mask on. He comes over there. She had been posting him on her page, you know, labeling him as a Proud Boy. And then the other one is like, you know, looking me up and down or whatever. And then there's like another one coming up. And so in that moment, the frustration was, if something was to pop off, I can't even depend on the cops.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people were like, oh, you're weak. No. I can't even depend on the cops in this situation. So I'm like, I need to get to my car where my shit is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like where I can protect myself. That was that moment in that particular time. And again, I want to thank the Black Panthers who came out and immediately surrounded my car, immediately made sure that I was fine. Immediately, like, you know, comforted me in that moment. But there was a lot of people who were like, oh, you can't show weakness. Hey, if me being human is weak to you, if me reaching a level of frustration that just comes out is weak, then hey, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. I'm running off of no sleep. This process has been no other. I'm making sure people ain't following me leaving the court. When I did my planning, and now I'll know going forward, like, don't stay in the same town that you know, if something is high profile like this, but I'm taking extra security measures that I've never taken before. Mm-hmm. You know, I just try to like make sure nobody's following me or something. Right. But anytime I left the courthouse, because I'm not that far, my hotel's not that far, I was never going straight home. I'm like, I'm driving to like the next town over. I'm making sure nobody's following me. It was one time that I just kept making turn after turn after turn after turn. I'm talking to Queen Sheba. I said, it's a white car behind me. She said, it was a white car that was at my hotel. She was like, that's weird. I said, I don't know. Like, since I left the hotel, I said, I'm not going home because there's this white car that just looks like they follow me. I pull in somewhere, they pull out. And so I'm like, well, I'm not going home. I'm just driving. And to hear people think, let me stop. Anyways, you talk about something else. Never mind. Let me just stop. But it's just like people don't even know.
Yeah.
I'm switching out my rental car. Like they don't even freaking know the half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of times I find that people are quick to say things from my mind, but when you actually come in person and you see what it's really like it's like, for instance, someone was saying that, oh, when I heard him say, you know, you should hang him by a tree. When somebody said, oh, you should hang him on a tree, hang Karmelo, and people were like, oh man, I'd have slapped him right there. Oh, why didn't you stomp him out? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? It's like, well, you know, it's easy to say that online, and obviously you want to, but then again, you're surrounded by the same cops that Nick had mentioned. Those same cops, you got like 6 of them surrounding you with rifles, just looking at you, waiting, you know, and allowing you and protecting these people. You know, because when it got really intense, in times which it got really intense, for some reason, the protection always leaned over to one side. I never, in the instances that I had been there, when it was high climax situations, had seen it that the cops were ever protecting us. It was always the other side. You know, and this is something that let me know that it wasn't just. It wasn't just, one side versus the other side. It was like us versus the whole town. The town was racist, in my estimation. So walks over saying, I know what you mean. It's scary as a woman when you're targeted. Yep. Basically, Caucasians are willing to humiliate themselves, even out themselves in danger just to come near us. Yeah, so, you know, it's something that's honestly, I mean, you know, sometimes we get rose-colored glasses and we forget that this stuff goes on. You know, we go through situations like this. We live our lives, and then we always get a reminder, a reminder of what life is really, really like, especially if we don't live in towns like these. But what they did to our brother Karmelo Anthony is something that, I mean, like I said, I have to keep on using the word heartbreaking. You know, I don't think I'll ever get the image in my mind seeing the sister fall to the ground in tears. So, you know, it was I would say that this, even this case, like personally as someone who vlogs and covers different scenarios, this has been the most intense. Everyone who actually was in the courthouse and in the courtroom is all like sleep deprived. What I tell you, I want to sleep at what, 6?
I haven't.
I woke up at 6.
Day,
I haven't slept since 6 yesterday.
Yeah, every single day I was getting like 2 hours of sleep, if that.
Yeah. So this is, you know, this is something that for sure that people are putting in blood, sweat, and tears just to support this young man, and to see the system do that to him is you know, is the way the cookie crumbled. So, you know, I'm most certainly sending prayers out, and you know, there is an organization that was helping them, helping Karmelo's family along the way. I just have to shout them out while we're here. It's called Next Gen. It's Next Gen Action. And this organization, I mean, they have been helping, I guess I could show it here, but they have been helping Karmelo's family. You can follow them on Instagram. Helping Karmelo's family with everything, just you know, giving them emotional support, making sure that you know, his family members felt safe, you know, on their way to the courtroom and going back and coming back. Many people know Next Gen just throughout the DFW area, so make sure that you go ahead and support them as well.
And here I come, you guys. I'll be right.
I'm holding it down, I think. I'm holding it down. Let me see. Minimum is 17. Yeah, minimum is 17.5 years. They said. You heard that? Yeah. You know, raised in Dallas, Texas, many are oblivious to the racism there. Yep. You know, I just broke down. I have a 3-year-old grandson, and I swear I wish he didn't. Ooh, they're going. Oh, let me see. See, so he'll be in his mid-30s when he gets out. Yep. And his defenses was awful. His defense, oh my goodness. I thought I was like waiting for it to rev up, and it just never revved up. It's almost like he didn't care about the case. I don't know. Like he wasn't fighting for his life. Like,
I want to hear from him. What don't we know?
It was a setup the whole time.
Yeah.
That's the whole premise. I think that's the whole premise. It was a setup the whole time. Everything felt carefully placed. It almost feels like they even put his lawyer, and I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist here, but it almost feels like they even put his lawyer in that position to defend him. Like, it just felt that way, that everything was rigged in a way so that he would lose.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that was something else. So definitely keep this brother Karmelo in your prayers and his family in your prayers, because, you know, now we see the aftermath, and take it from there. But
yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't understand just the whole process. Like, even when I did the Diddy trial, right? If you wanted to get into the main courtroom, there was people lining up at 3 p.m. the day before to line sit and hold people's spots, right? Even if we wanted to do that, like, I want to hire somebody that's going to sit in the line, hold my spot. They even made that process chaos. They made the process of being the first 27 like a survival of the fittest.
Yes.
Like on Friday, right? I get there. They say that there's no access to the court until 6. The day before, I get there at 5:58. 15 or so Metcalf family, they already were there before. Like, they told them, like, oh, y'all got priority access. And then we all get there and we're like, wait, we already 15 or so people back, like including the other people. When I got there at 5:58 on that Thursday, I was already like number 25, 26.
Mm-hmm.
So then the next day, everybody seen how that went,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, "Oh well, they're gonna let them get priority. You know, I'm gonna come at 5 too."
Yeah.
So then it turned from people trying to obey the 6 a.m. curfew and seeing that it doesn't apply to the Metcalf family, and it damn for sure don't apply to, you know, some of the other people. The next day, everybody's like, I'm gonna like be on that street.
Yeah.
Like right at 5:30 or 5 whatever.
I was number 22 and I got there at 3:30 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was number 22. Like
Yeah.
I think about like 10 minutes later, it was already full.
Yeah. So on Friday, all these cars are lined up, right? I get off the freeway and there's like a row of cars, like 10, 15 cars
Mm-hmm.
that they were like waiting to like dash into the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, fuck, it's 15 cars, like 10, 15 cars ahead of me. All of these cars got multiple people. I'm probably not going to make it in the courtroom. I'm thinking like, fuck, I'm not going to make it in.
Mm-hmm.
The first 2 cars go and people start dashing in the parking lot and boom, they have an accident.
What? I didn't know about that.
They had an
They
accident.
had an accident out there?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Boom, they had an accident.
Dang.
So where I was, I was backed up so far that there was another parking lot right here, but the sheriff had already told us like we can't get in right there. But then when the accident happened, he moved. One car behind me, they turned in and I flip it into reverse. Like I'm like into reverse, like boom, like punching it back, and you know, I turn into Speed Racer real quick when it comes to driving. So like I book it back and I turn and I like dash into the parking lot. I park and I just book it like I'm running, like you know, and I make it and I'm running and I'm all the way like almost not in the fucking 27, but then it just escalated even more. Like it was like more and more dangerous to try to get in, and no matter how they tried to like accommodate, it just became more and more like the way that they did it was dangerous. Like the process was dangerous. It was like so much. And then like you have to get there at 5, but in order to get there at 5, you got to be waking up at 3 or 4. And then you're at the courthouse until the court doesn't start until 9. And then he runs his court from 9 to 6 p.m. And then you leave and then you try to do comments. It's like you running off of 2 to 3 hours, if that, of sleep for like never end, and then you're like high stress. Like people don't even understand I've never dealt with a case like this.
You had mentioned something before. I think when you and I were talking, can you speak to the idea that you tried to submit for media and over there, like they weren't allowing you to or something?
Right. Okay, so since about a year ago, I knew that I wanted to cover this case. Starting in April, I started to figure out how can I get credentials to cover the case. And so I reached out to the public information office to see if I can, like, how do I go about, because the judge had just, and it was like April 25th, there was an announcement that the judge has said that there was only going to be 9 media. So I immediately contacting the county to see how can I submit my credentials to be one of the 9 media.
Sure.
So they tell us that we can fill out this application to be considered for it, right? So they tell us that we're going to submit this application. I submitted, I put all my, all of my little, like the most shit, in on there.
Accolades.
Like my best accolades. Yeah. I put my best accolades on there and I submitted. So then I wait until I want to say I submitted it around April, into April. When it came like halfway to May, I asked to follow up and I'm like, hey, when will we know about who you selected. They're like, oh, well, today I happened to email on a day that they had local media there. They're like, well, today, we had all the TV stations there and they were getting B-roll of the courtroom, but nobody selected yet. Like they just got access to the bailiff, but nobody selected. I'm like, so you don't select the local media, but they the ones there, but you didn't tell none of us that submitted about this opportunity to get B-roll.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, interesting. So I felt like they was playing in my face. So then 2 weeks after that, they announced that we decided to give we decided to give the 9 seats to legacy media, right? And there's this blast that, oh, it's going to go only to legacy media. So I'm like, okay, well, at least if I'm not one of the 9, if I make it through the public, can I submit my credentials to be able to use a laptop? Because in my mind, I'm thinking if they're doing live updates and we're in there from however to however, I'm like, that already puts me in a disadvantage. I'm like, I'm gonna ask if they say no, it's no, but whatever. So I asked if I can submit my credentials to use a laptop. And the public information officer, a week before the trial, all of my flight, my hotel, car rental, all of this is already booked. I email him and I say, hey, how can I submit to the judge to see if I can use my laptop? He writes me back and he says, only approved media can take notes. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I mean, I understand that, I can't use the electronic device and I'm cool with that, but I could use a pen and a paper, right? And so he was like, only approved media can take notes. So I'm like, is he saying that I can't even write anything down on a piece of paper? So I contact the court and I say, well, clearly this information ain't right. Yeah. Like I can't use a pen and a pad. Like what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are they trying to hide? Like, what is going on? So I contact the court directly and I say, hey, I just want to make sure, like, I'm allowed to use a pen and a paper, right? And then the PIO intercepts my message and he's like, I already told her yesterday. And I'm like, chill, you just told me that today. You didn't tell me that yesterday. Like, What are you talking about? And then he's like, the answer was no. So I contacted some of my media friends and I'm like, one of them happened to work with TMZ and, a couple of the other ones telling them what's going on. And certain people start making phone calls and they start rejecting the ability to even take notes for everyone. And then suddenly I get an update and they're like, hey, Neek, update. You can use the pen and a paper now. And I'm like, what?
So what do you think that legacy media thing is about? Is that like media that we can control that makes our courthouse look good? That's why we can only have legacy media. There's a certain select few.
Right.
Like, what do you think that's about?
Number one, they're going to say because I wasn't keeping up with what they were posting.
Right.
Because I was busy writing my own detailed notes. But I would hear people in the courtroom talk about and complain about what they were posting. Like somebody said, I remember he was like, why do they only list what the prosecution witnesses say when the prosecution is up, but they never list the points that the defense makes? And then that was some of the sentiments that some people had, but I didn't have time to really check what they had going on.
Yeah. That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely have open prayers for Karmelo and his family. This is something else,
Yeah.
Like, what can you I don't even know what you could say to that. I don't even know what you could say, but I was definitely honored to meet you out there, and
honored to meet you too.
And all of the other wonderful independent journalists is through y'all that we actually get the real news, right? Instead of this polarizing whatever nonsense that they try to give us. to keep us fighting each other. So, I'm definitely honored to be here and, just on your live and, with all of these, I can see you through the screen. Beautiful. And
yeah. Thank y'all. And then I just put the link in the chat also too. I don't know if he has a Cash App or anything like that, but child, this ain't been cheap. So if y'all could support, my Cash App is Neek at Night Media. I appreciate all of you guys who have supported so far. I'm gonna have to try to move this to the middle. I don't know how I could do it. But if you guys have anything that you want to say, any feelings that you feel, click the link that I just provided in the chat. And then I'm not going to keep him too long because he looked like he's getting sleepier and sleepier.
It's not your fault, trust me.
Yeah. So let me pull up Peaches. Hi. What's your
Hey,
thoughts?
Nick. How are you? I love your show. I've been watching you for years. I have a couple of thoughts. First thought is I never thought that he was going home. It would be manslaughter. That was what I was hoping. That is what I was thinking. That is what I felt was fair in this situation. And the reason I felt that way was because less than a month ago, I was on a jury, and knowing how we have to go through the law, knowing how we have to consider all the evidence, I just thought that if they followed the law and took all of the emotion out of it, that they wouldn't give him anything more than manslaughter.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really sad to see that happen today. But honestly, my heart dropped when the jury was picked and everyone was white.
Well, it wasn't everyone white, but it was everyone that is white identifying, kind of. Like, they're not white, but there's like 3 Asian, there's 3 Middle Eastern / Indian, and those people are
adjacent to white.
Yeah.
So there was nobody on the jury that looked like him, that had lived possibly and experienced life the way that we experience life. I'm a football mom. My son was in football. Yes, if there's a tent, normally it's for everybody. And I live in Mobile, Alabama, so I live in the South. Football is huge. If it's a tent, and normally it's for just the team. But if there's a storm out, there's everybody under the tent trying to get away from the rain. There's no beef. And then when the rain is over, then everybody goes, to their places that are assigned for them. So I never understood why they were making a big deal about the tent, and I didn't understand why they were making such a big deal about him telling him to leave from under the tent. Normally there's parents, there's students, there's like a different array of people under the tent. If somebody's under a tent, and forget the valuable, that's a bunch of bull crap. Yes, there's stuff under there, but mostly it's helmets, it's their shoulder pads, it's their duffel bags. It's not valuable stuff. They ain't got watches and all that kind of stuff under the tent. So it's not about keeping the items under the tent protected. It's just like an isolated space for the team. So if somebody's under the tent that's not supposed to be there, normally somebody gets a parent or somebody gets a coach, or you see people kind of gathering, or you see the kids gathering and it doesn't look normal. So then somebody steps over and is like, hey, what's going on? But I just felt like he lost before it started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they were making a big deal about the things that really didn't matter. You know what I mean? So I hate that for him. For 35 years, I thought was harsh. That's ridiculous. He was an honor roll student. He'd never been in trouble. He had a job. I have a son who just turned 20. And so it frightens me that whether my son is accused of stealing, but he really didn't steal, and people are chasing him and he runs out of the store, they can shoot him in the back and get away. It scares me that if he is in a situation where he feels like he needs to defend himself and he defends himself, somebody can take his story and take the reality of what really happened and twist it. And then my son is put away for defending himself or making an impulsive decision because he was in fear. And so I feel like our community needs to really have conversations with our sons and with our daughters that the law was not made for us. The law was not made for us. All that self-defense stuff was, I believe, was made for when a white person kills a black person and they can say, oh, I was scared. And so it was self-defense. That rule was never for us. And we need to have really serious conversations with our kids, with our community, and be honest with each other and have the hard conversations and just find a way that we can, in community, support our kids and make sure that they do not end up in the system. Because once they step foot into the system, then their lives are in the hands of people that don't look like us, that don't have our best interest at heart, and they already lost. Once they charge you, you already lost. So my heart goes out to him, his family.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I love Unique. Been following you for years.
Thank you.
Anyway, Mobile, Alabama. I've been with you for years. I love your coverage. I'm glad you're home. I was trying to check on you, but I know you were really busy. So I appreciate all the coverage you did. I appreciate it. I'm gonna go and let somebody else talk.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Danny, Danae.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. How are you, Neek?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Good. So, I just actually started following you because of the trial.
Oh, okay.
So I was listening to everything for the first few days, and honestly, I don't have much to say because I do have an opinion about it. I know this is the aftermath, but really, I'm curious because a lot I felt was I don't have a lot of information about what happened. It's just like I followed you, and then next thing I know, he's guilty. So I know you guys are saying that the defense sucked, this and that, and they didn't do this. But can we get a little bit more detail? I'm just like the actual part that, of course, Karmelo, and being a black man, me being a black woman, I'm wanting him to get the due justice that he deserves, right? But also, just as me and my personality, I was really curious about the ins and outs. Like, even when the guy, I'm sorry, what's your name?
Emerald,
I'm sorry. Even when you went into detail, where you said something about the twisting the knife and the knife was this way, those are the things that I was really interested in. Like, is there any more detail that you can share or that you can share, Neek, in regards to what you missed? Because I'm really curious about how we got here. I understand that you guys are painting the picture, of course, and this is probably the truth of it, but I'm just curious to know what actually
I think it's probably better if you ask a specific question because it's so much.
It's a lot. That's fine. That's fine. So, for instance, I don't remember hearing Eddie's full testimony. And I wanted to know if the actual weapon, if they had found that him having that backpack with all the camping gear in it, did they use that as his defense? Why did he have the knife? The testimony of, I didn't know, I pretty much assumed because I knew if he did, obviously Karmelo didn't go on the stand, obviously not. But it's like a few things that I was curious about that happened in the actual courtroom. And even if you could just answer, why did the defense suck, by giving a few examples of what they did or could have done in the situations in the court.
Okay. Well, like I said, it was a lot, and I do apologize. I did go to the Saturday session. I was in the court when Eddie testified, and this my bad because I still have not sat and read through everything that Eddie said. So maybe you probably, if you were just waiting on my word for it, then I appreciate that, that you were doing that. But Eddie's testimony was basically him downplaying his knowledge of Karmelo. He was downplaying their relationship. He was acting as though like he wasn't really speaking to him. He was just sitting there, and Karmelo was just there when he shouldn't have been there. He egged on the situation. So and just to correct the camping gear comment, what she's talking about is when I covered the contents that were in his backpack. Sorry, and I'm gonna get back to Eddie. in his backpack, there was hand warmers. And so his attorney made sure to point out that the hand warmers are something that people use for camping. So it wasn't something that he had like a bunch of camping gear in his backpack, just so that we're correct. It was just a simple fact that he made a comment and said that those hand warmers are similar to people who go camping. And when he did his opening statement, he also mentioned that that was something that Karmelo enjoyed, was camping. So I drew the conclusion that maybe that's why he had the knife. But back to what she was asking. So Eddie downplayed their relationship. He downplayed his knowledge of even why Karmelo was there in the first place. He acted like there wasn't a reason where they would sit together and like he should have just left. And when Karmelo started to get approached by Austin and Hunter, he didn't say nothing. He didn't tell them like, hey, this is my friend, like chill out, or hey, Karmelo, you came over here for me, but just,
Did Eddie explain why though? Like when he was sitting on the stand, because I knew all of that. But like in being in the courtroom, of course, you see his demeanor, you see the things that I can't chat GCP, like people are saying, like, because obviously being in the courtroom is not the same as people saying what happened on the news, or you know what I mean? That's why I'm asking you specifically, like, what his demeanor was. And somebody says I'm trolling. I'm not trolling. I literally only found Neek because of the case. So you have to understand my point of view. So again, she's also admitting that there were parts that she didn't share. So I'm not here to troll. I like Dominique. Or your name is Dominique, obviously, right?
No, that's what a lot of people assume, that it's Dominique or Monique or.
Oh, okay. So that's why I'm here. So it's not about that. I honestly did want her firsthand, understanding of what she saw, just like she did the first 2 days. So I'm not missing it. Am I missing any of your commentary on it? Because I think the drama started happening like with being outside and you trying to give that, and then all that stuff was happening with the Black Panthers. So am I wrong? Am I missing something?
Right. So I mean, it was just him downplaying their involvement. So that, I mean, you didn't really miss much. Like if you chat GPT'd it told you what it was. Like his demeanor was just like a little punk. That was my characterization of him, that he was a little punk and a little buster. Because even me, like if I'm not really a fighter, if you have integrity and you just are an integral person, you're gonna say, hey, this is my friend, or hey, this is my his girlfriend, a friend of the family. You're not just gonna let a group of kids gang up on him. And not only that, like act like you're recording and also join in on making comments that he ain't got nothing in the bag and doing all of that when y'all was just laughing. He was just at your house. He was just at your family. He got pictures with your grandma. He got pictures where you guys went on a 2-man, like y'all went on a double date. Then there was pictures of him from the memorial team and Karmelo from Centennial, all sitting on the same bench together of the track meet. And then there was testimony that they've been under the memorial tent the 10 days prior. So it's like, all of that, you got on the stand and you're saying all of this. It just gave punk, like that has no integrity.
Today, defense had mentioned that there was photos with him and I think he said family events with Karmelo. There was photos of them playing basketball.
Yeah.
There was photos of them on a double date, and there was photos with someone's grandma. I think it was.
It was Eddie. No, it was a picture with Eddie's grandmother at Eddie's house with Karmelo. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's some of the details that they I guess re-released today in court as well. So hopefully that gave you the details you needed.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
I know you guys kept mentioning the defense sucked, and I was just curious about like why they didn't ask those type of questions to Eddie, like why didn't you?
They did ask him why he didn't say anything. He don't know.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah. But we're gonna be wrapping soon also. But thank you, Danny. The next person, I don't want to bring you up with your name. Change your name, and then I'll bring you up. So go out and come back, like change your name, and then I'll bring you up. And you can tell me what you think, but not with your name. Let me kick you from the studio and come back. We'll wrap in like, you got 5 more minutes in you?
I got 5 minutes.
Okay.
I got 5 minutes. 5 minutes I got.
All right, let's see. I'm gonna put the link in here. Miss D, what's your thoughts? Hello, Miss D. Oh, I don't know what happened. But yeah, if y'all want to come up, y'all, we got 5 more minutes because he looked like he over here about to fall out. Tiara, hello. Oh, Tiara. Oh wait, am I?
Can you hear me?
Oh, girl, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, go ahead.
You're fine. You're fine. I'm glad you're in better spirits today because, woo, child, it kind of like disturbed me that, you know, they were making you cry and like certain things were happening. But I don't agree with the verdict. He's a child. They had a disagreement. Things went wrong. But I don't like that they're trying to, like, you know, send him to jail for the rest of his life. That's not okay. Hopefully the judge, because I think you mentioned before, I think you mentioned how the judge has he has the ability to decide the sentence or how many years. So hopefully that's considered, but I don't think that.
Years, you behind, baby.
What happened?
They already sentenced him.
They already. So how many years is he getting? Is he getting life?
He's getting 35 years.
Wow. I'm sorry because I just heard about it tonight, but wow. That's so unfortunate. That's so sad. That's so sad. But thank you for your coverage, Neek, and I appreciate all that you do, and I hope you have a good night.
All right, you too. Full name.
Hey, how you doing, Neek?
Hey.
Hey, what's up, brother?
How's it going, brother?
What's your thought?
Man, my thought is like it reminds me of the black doll test back in the day when they had them 2 baby dolls and which doll is good, which doll is bad.
Yeah.
It's still teaching this school system is still teaching that no matter what the black doll did to protect itself, that black doll is bad at the end of the day. And I wish Karmelo would have spoke up for himself, would at least took the stand and told the true story instead of allowing them people to sit up them. His peers to sit up there and just lie on him like that. Just sit up there, just disown him. But according to history, it even happened to, not to get religious on folks, but it even happened to Christ. People started denying him and not wanting to be a part of him because they was worried about what the world said. And this system is still in the same fashion on going against what true self-defense is, what true just life being a black man, a black person in America. And we're looking for justice from a system that's not trying to help us at all, no matter what. Keep us docile. Mentally now, since we're not in chains no more, they want us mentally. But yeah, I just hope we can appeal it or something because it's sad. And I don't want to say it happened to the right person. But I know if my nephew went through that or my niece went through that, y'all ain't got to worry about me no more. It's going to be, Nat Turner, like Pac was saying back in the day. Like, it's on, but this is what they want. They want us to rise up and go against it because they're not going to change and they're not going to show true justice. But I wish.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were done. I was just going to add, brother, that defending ourselves is not a right that we actually get in their eyes. I was watching something by the actor Lakeith Stanfield recently, and he had said, he said with black people, he said, you got to kind of like first convince them that you're human at first. Like, that's like the first level you got to reach is like actually have to convince them and let them teach them that you're actually human for them to start treating you like when getting it to that point is like a whole nother
thing,
a whole nother battle. So just kind of added to what you
and that's psychological because when they was calling us 3/5 of a human, or they was calling us animals back in those days. So they believe that mentally, they believe that.
Yeah.
And if you think this something is an animal, why would you want to lay and sleep with that animal just to show you how inhumane their mental thinking is? So when we had Black Wall Street, everything was peaceful. We had our own businesses. We was governing over each other. You can leave your doors unlocked, but they didn't like that. And so I respect all races, and I feel that America needs to have, in every state, we segregate and watch over our own people and tend to our own people. We can ain't no you can be invited to go hang out with other people, but you need somebody watching you, because you can have friends of other races, but you need somebody watching you just in case, something gets out of hand. You need to have a voucher. And I'm sure Karmelo Anthony had a voucher, but his friend denied that voucher after everybody else started putting that peer pressure on him.
Thank you so much, phone. I don't know how long you got, because you like you
I gotta
checking
go.
out. Yeah,
Now I'm getting wild.
Like, okay, so I know that there's so many of y'all that still want to talk. I'm gonna bring Dennis up. Dennis, you give some commentary while I excuse our guest, and I'm gonna keep the show going. I'm gonna take myself off. Phone him and
Yes.
y'all talk amongst each other, and then I'll be back.
Okay. First of all, I'm going to kind of work backwards. The verdict. The verdict came in, and it was a symbolism. I don't know if anyone caught the symbolism of the sentence. There was a symbolism behind the sentence. He got 35 years. Austin Metcalf was 17 and a half years, but when he died. So they times his sentence. So they basically went in there. They didn't really give it a lot of thought. They just said, well, we're going to give him something that he can remember. 17 and a half times 2 is 35. So he's eligible for a parole after 17 and a half years. Eligibility doesn't mean he's going to get it. He may have to go to the board multiple times before they, see fit to release him. And they're going to factor in, a lot of things that obviously we still have questions about. He didn't per se take this, speak in his sentencing hearing, nor did he speak in the actual give a testimony in the actual trial. And there are varying opinions why he didn't do that. And I'm going to leave that, that's for his appellate attorney and himself. And I just want to, at some point he may talk. But this case was, I won't say it was rigged from the beginning. There was too many signals that was coming from the court, in my opinion, covering many trials. I've covered more trials than you can imagine, from criminal, federal, civil, just a family. And some of the things that I expected to be prevalent in this trial wasn't there. The transparency part, the non-sequestering of the jury during the trial, and the obviously sequestering, or at least the threat of sequestering during this penalty phase, was kind of interesting. The judge wanted to, according to his ruling and the order that us members of the press received, he wanted to make sure this trial integrity was intact. Well, I don't know so much about that. You had all these racists that were protesting outside the court, calling for the hanging of Karmelo Anthony, and these jurors were able to come in and out of the courtroom or courthouse, and they had the ability to, if they had questions of why those people were gathering outside the courthouse, they had the ability to look at social media. Forget the judge's admonishment, because the judge is not going to be looking at what they're doing on their phones or what they do once they leave the courthouse. So there was a lot of things that, if you really wanted to make sure this guy had a equitable trial, you would have did. And even for that judge per se, like, you would have made sure every mechanism was in place, and it just, in my opinion, wasn't just there. So, you have any comment? You can speak. I'm sorry, I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah. So he still got a chance to appeal it, because he has to speak for himself. If you just allow these unruly people to go ahead and, well, I'm gonna sentence you, you ain't gonna say nothing, and this is gonna be your outcome. So he still has a chance to appeal it.
Absolutely. This is America. You still have the opportunity to appeal it, but he also has the opportunity to file for a motion for a new trial based on what he felt, his legal defense felt, that was not granted. Again, there's tears to this. I don't think his family is going to let him just rot in jail when they have ability to fight. Now, we don't know what the motions were filed prior to this case, because everything was under order to sell. It was a gag order. That hopefully the judge released the gag order. I don't know yet. Nick may know. Did the judge lift the gag order? Has that been done already? Because if it has been done, there needs to be request by FOIA to have all that stuff made available. Because at this point, he's now sentenced. We still need to, for open court in the respect of First Amendment, there still should be open court, and the Sixth Amendment to be open court, so we have the ability to see what others haven't seen. Because there's confusion that all the people have been saying online and everything, because they weren't able to get in the court and no cameras in the court. It was very problematic. Do you feel like, Nick, that no cameras in the court and right proper access, and then
no cameras in the court, only 27 public, and no overflow room with every day there's like 300 people showing up trying to get in? I feel like if there was more people to be able to hear the information, it can easily debunk some of the misinformation that's happening. That's number one. And then number two, if he would have streamed it live, people would have seen the bullshit in real time on how not one student had the same. So like they all had different versions. Like one person said Austin said something. Hunter said something. And then another person says Hunter, like most of them said Hunter wasn't involved and he said nothing. He didn't make no comment. But Hunter has an interview saying that he said something. So clearly they're lying. And I had one person comment and they were like, oh, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You're calling these kids liars. Well, if Hunter does an interview and he says, I start talking to him first and Austin grabbed his bag, and then none of the kids are saying that, and most of them are saying that Hunter wasn't even involved and he's sitting there silent, he's not saying nothing, then they're fucking lying. Just because Austin is a victim does not mean that they're truth tellers. They're lying.
Right. And
they never showed a video in court.
They showed the video, but it was blurry. Now, even with the video, right? Like there's a lot of people who said that there was an opportunity to go down to ISD and see the video for themselves. You had to put some paperwork or whatever, and you can go down and you can see it. Now, the people who are saying that they went to go see it, those people, they said that it was clear. You can see 4 guys approach him and all of these things. The video that we saw was blurry. It was grainy. Even when each person testified, they would blow up the thing and they would be like, is that you right here or whatever? And then they'd be like, I don't know. I can't tell that's me. I can't even see and they were like, well, if would you take my word for it that that's you? And they didn't even know who they were in the screenshots or the video. Like the prosecution was like, do you see yourself right here? And then he's like, well, what if I point out and let you know that this, like, they didn't even know that it was them. So how are we supposed to, like, you can't really.
And again, to your point, Neek, I'm sorry, guys. No, to your point, Neek, the defense, we don't know if the defense wanted to challenge this expert witness that they put on the first witness, because there was a lot of talk about the quality of the video. It was in 4K, but you didn't have a player that would mimic what the 4K should have been. So talking about that, it was almost psychological. You had to assume this is 4K, but not see it with your eyes. What's the purpose of showing 4K video without having a 4K monitor to show?
Well, they did show them a video on a TV, but we couldn't see the 4K quality. Like, we never saw 4K quality, but they did show them what they said was enhanced video, but it was cut off from the gallery from seeing it.
Okay, why was that? If it wasn't because of the nature of what happened, and why would they show this? Because you're in a trial. I've covered trials where we see gunshots, we seen all kind of grotesque type of evidence. So why wouldn't that be something that audience members could see? Because there's already no cameras in the courtroom. The people in the courtroom are not recording what's on the screen. So there was just a lot of things that, like, how do you then shield everyone in the courtroom? Why? And the jurors are seeing this. I just don't understand that, the logic behind that. again, that's not transparency. You know, like you're saying it's 4K, but we're not seeing 4K. And then you're expert spotlighting Karmelo fleeing, but you're not really spotlighting what happened leading up to that, even how the brothers walked up. See, the other thing is missing is if one says he wasn't there or he happened to come in afterwards, but the video would show if he's lying. If even does testify, the video would show if he walked up with his brother. We don't see that. The video would definitely show if both brothers were under that tent together, and that will refute anything the prosecution or the witnesses are saying. Because if they're not showing the video, how do we know that Hunter actually didn't walk up with his brother and was participating in whatever was happening?
Right. All right. So we're gonna go to. Hold on one second. Amber, what's your thoughts? You've been waiting for some time. Thank you for waiting patiently.
Absolutely, Nick. You know, I always watch you all the time. I'm so proud of you and the coverage that you did for this case. And unfortunately, just like you were saying earlier, how they weren't letting people in. I just feel like the chips were stacked against the young man from the jump. Obviously, we can tell by the evidence being conflicting between the children. If we had boots on the ground inside there and they were screaming it or whatnot, we will be able to say, okay, we can differentiate from what is the truth and sift through everything. But because those things weren't happening, now it's like a game of telephone, and it's a game of who do you believe within the media. And I always been watching you. I always take what you say to be verbatim because you literally take your stuff seriously. So as I'm sifting through everything else, I literally was just I had to take myself and pull myself onto Facebook because I was literally on there arguing with these people. I'm not going to keep arguing with you whites because at the end of the day, y'all always right. We're always wrong. Just like the situation that happened with Cyrus. You know, I just feel like America does not care about our kids, and we can tell within the justice system. We always have to. I feel like if his parents had a stellar a defense team, he still would have had the chip stacked against them. They say in Texas, money talks and everything like that. It does not matter. It's about who you know. And they were saying that the judge. I'm not saying this is true, but this is what I'm hearing. The judge, the sheriffs and all of them they're all like intertwined, connected or whatnot. So he has his chip stacked against him, to be honest. And how can you fight for anything when you already feel defeated? It's like you arguing with these whites on social and they literally, oh, well, he shouldn't have had a knife. Do you know about black fatigue? I mean, they keep saying, white fatigue. I'm sorry. They keep saying black fatigue. No, we have white fatigue. Do you know down south? I'm from up north, but I live currently in North Carolina. And my view of whites have changed so drastically because these people just do not mind their business. These people always messing with people. They just have to have, a point. They just have to do something, and it's like that's in their makeup of their skin, that they just have to be entitled to think that America's theirs, and that's why they want to make it a white nationalist Christian state, because they just feel like this is our country and we're entitled to it, just like the other people from the I place. I don't want to say that on here to get your thing flagged, but we know what I'm talking about. And so it becomes a race war, like the young man up here was saying. It becomes like, okay, we're all over here and you're over here. I do honestly agree with that. We should be segregated because it is proven, and it is in history books and everything. When we were thriving as a black community on our own, we were thriving. And just like the whites, they have to be entitled. They had to come burn it all down and take us down. And then it becomes a race war within our own community of, we're up here, these people are down here, and then you're lower than us. And so it becomes a distraction between our own community. So now it's all just distorted. And so bringing it back to Karmelo, it's just more so of when you have all those chips against you, what do you do? What do you like? hopefully he will get an appeal, and he will win an appeal because I feel like the lawyer representation, they could have did better. Now that sometimes I feel like Black people, we say too much beforehand, or we think we helping by doing something, but really we hindering. So now that we know, and if they move it to another place, another county, we know that, okay, now we need to know that I'm not going to be, I'm going to say I'm not going to be biased, but in my head, I'm going to be biased because they do it for their own. So why can't we? You understand? It's just so much. I'll be on here all night long. I'm just so hurt, and I'm just so, because he could be one of our sons. I have a 2-year-old son, you know what I mean? And I just look at him and see these other children, and I post it on my Facebook. It's just like with the Cyrus, with the we can go all the way back to the Zimmerman who killed the young man. Forgive me for not remembering his name, but this is a story that's been happening many and many years over and over and over and over again. And us as the Black community, it's like, if we're not going to, use and bear our arms, it's like we fighting an uphill battle. What are we going to be able to do?
I'm gonna pause you right there so Summer could go because she's been waiting. Summer, what is your thoughts? And don't bring the camera up some.
Like this?
Yeah, keep it like that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I guess first I want to say, Neek, I freaks with you. You probably don't know me. I know we know a lot of mutual people. I'm from California too. So my whole thing of it all is, for me, it hits a little bit deep because I have children, even though my boys right now is not Karmelo's age, but Karmelo could have easily been one of my kids. And me being a parent that teach my kids to try to defuse situations while in the same breath not allowing nobody to punk you or disrespect you in certain ways, it's kind of hard raising Black young men in a way that we feel like that they need to be raised, while in the same breath raising them in a way to where society don't see them as a threat. I cried all freaking day, and I got a 19-year-old daughter. She don't get it. She didn't understand. She like, Mama, what's going on with you? You don't get it. You don't get that you are a girl, but in the same breath, Karmelo is a year younger than you and easily could have been my son. That easily could have been your brother. So to know that, I'm almost 40. So I've lived in a generation to where my great grandmother, I had a relationship with her. I heard stories from her. I heard the stories of the slavery and the no school. So to see our youth moving the way that they move, number one. Number two, some of the parents not parenting the way that they should. And I know this don't have nothing to do with Karmelo Anthony, but I'm trying to get to a point. At some point, we all have to realize, regardless of how we feel, they look at us like a threat. Our skin color alone is a threat to these people.
Yeah.
And one day, I pray that we all can genuinely show up and show out for one another, because regardless of how we feel, regardless of the way that we move, we still have a jacket on our back. When is enough going to be enough? When are we going to show them that we can be united, that we are not what they try to make us to be, and that we are not only equal to y'all, and excuse me for anybody that this may offend, but a lot of us is a little bit better than y'all.
I mean,
Just
especially
being
coverage.
honest.
The best coverage came, and not to make it a race thing, but the Black women that were in there, Gerald left kind of early, but he was doing good coverage too. The best coverage came from us. Even the guy from Law and Crime, like the best coverage of the case came from us. That's why they was really mad, because you had dry, and I guess a new term for her, leprechaun. I mean, that's kind of describes it. But her thing, she's stumbling over it. She's trying to keep up, and I'm like, girl, sit down. The only thing you got that's an advantage is the hate that your people have for us, but you're not better than us in commentary. You're not better than us in presenting the facts. You're not better than us in anything else. The only thing you got better is a bigger audience that has more hate, because even though
That's it.
we are Black individuals and everybody has their own biases, we don't have the same level of hate. Like there may be some prejudice or whatever, but we don't have the same level of hate. The only thing that she got is that they stick together with that hate shit. And that like, when it comes to us, we don't have a good foundation of like staying on code. Like even a little Uncle Tom that was like her little token, you know, it's like they know how to be on code. Like we don't have that code that we are on. Like even when my video of me crying was on It's On Site, like it was even some of us like, oh, she weak. Like why would she even, why, like, oh, please. Like
it don't have nothing to do with weak.
Like,
when you passion and that shit hit your soul on a different level, and those tears is anger. Those tears is anger because how dare y'all in 2026 still move this way? How dare y'all in 2026 still make us feel belittled? How dare y'all in 2026 continue to play in our fucking face, excuse my language, like y'all do? How dare y'all?
Right.
How dare y'all?
I wish there was more people like us fed up and angry, because it is not. And I see this is also what I wanted to bring up too, Nick. I arguing with these people on Facebook. It's a lot of black people, you know, blaming Karmelo too. Like the nerve. Like, are you serious? Giving this young boy a shield, this white boy a shield. Like he shouldn't have brought a knife and this, that. Excuse me. Back to what I was saying about white fatigue. Are you serious? Like you said, young lady, the jacket that we have to wear around in this country. Are you serious?
Yeah, I guarantee you, if you drop that address to that stadium in any website, any program for sex offenders, I guarantee you it's over 100 of them in that area. So you can't tell me how I should or should not feel threatened. You can't tell me how I should or should not feel comfortable. This whoever just got on here.
Uda on the go.
You got feedback, Uda.
Hold on, let me see if I can mute.
I don't know. I just been real passionate about it.
What's your watch one? The one dude that
I don't know, but many years ago, California, I had a cousin that was in an abandoned house because it was raining, and Riverside police shot my cousin in Edgewood with his hands up. I was once one out there protesting no justice, no peace. I have had to live with the thoughts of where would my cousin be had they not did what they did to him. So to still be living it, and that was when I was in the 9th grade, and I've graduated in 2024. So that was in 2000, 26 years ago. My cousin has been dead, and we are still dealing with the same injustice. It's sad.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Very sad. And I currently live in Spring, Texas, which is about 15 minutes outside of Houston. When I saw you on that live crying, not even crying, but as emotional as you were, I blew Candace inbox up. Y'all better get them Black Panthers out there, and y'all better get them to our sister now. And that's all I wanted to say. I wish everybody the best.
Write me on Instagram.
Okay, I got you.
All right, thank you for coming up.
Everybody be safe and be blessed.
All right. All right, so we just got Tank and Uda. What are you guys' thoughts? And we also have who's the other person? Is it Chef AM Cherry?
Yes, ma'am, that's me.
Okay, whoever wants to go first.
How y'all doing? Hey sis, it's so good to see you, baby. Listen, when you was out there in Houston, when you was out there in Texas, let me tell you something. You know what I'm saying? Listen, you know, I don't fool with many. Girl, I almost want to go get me a ticket. I was about to call and see could I go in and get the last check I needed to come out there and fly to you. But I'm so glad you're safe. I'm so glad you're doing your thing. And I am so proud of you. It's just being, you know, a Black queen that you are. It's showing the intelligence, the resilience, the humbleness that you showed. I was just very proud of that because I live, being born in Mississippi, but Memphis, Tennessee raised me. I'm a very much Southerner. So, I was in Houston for like 10 years. And so I've seen sundown towns and over the railroad track and Confederate signs and stuff, growing up just naturally. So, to see you actually go into that element of that, I was just again, you seem to never stop shocking me. So thank you for that as well. I just want to jump in so I could jump out because I was talking about this as well. And y'all, this is just a crazy case altogether. I do agree with some of the sentiments of some people on each side of how they're saying, but I just feel like in a way that the case was botched in a way. I feel like the defense could have did a lot better in pulling out a lot of more evidence. And this is definitely something based in race because it just says so much to our young people about defending yourself and standing up for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And rest in peace to the young man that lost his life. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it speaks volumes of the state that we in right here in America. And I just want to come up and say, for us as Black people, I don't think we should be responding in a way that they expecting us to respond because they want us to respond the way we know, them Rod the King side we can respond. But right now we can't do that because we know who's in office. And I think the best way we can do, like you got to go back to when they act right. I was just saying earlier today is that they might not like Black, but they love green. You know what I'm saying? Y'all get me? They might not like Black, but they love green. And one of the things that made them act right back in the day that my mama can always tell me too, was that Montgomery boy boycott. You know what I'm saying? That bus boycott, when they saying that the dollar was being tampered with, and understand who we are. We are some of the most highest spending people in America. And right now was our time and opportunity to make out not only us and our ancestors proud by gathering like we're doing now. Thank you, Nick, for what you're doing. And just, having conversations about how to move forward, but move more smartly and learn how to teach our young men, think before you act, because we know we live in America. You know what I'm saying? We know what it is for real, for real. Our cousins over there, they don't understand like we get it. We from this thing. So for us, it's passionate for us. But that's all I want to come and say. Nick, thank you. I love you. I reached out to you too. Go check out your inbox. But y'all just stay safe. And you know what I'm saying? We're gonna keep the Karmelo Anthony family definitely in prayer. And all I can say is just say, you know what I'm saying, y'all, we have to learn from this. Hopefully he can make an appeal. We can do something, but we have to think strategically and not out of emotion. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We have to do that.
The only request that I have for my Black people is public records are available in the state of Texas. If you live in Texas, do me a favor and put in a petition tonight for the surveillance of that hallway so that they can see what was going on and prove Miss Pigeon Toes wrong and get our evidence that we need. But the more people that are writing the county, putting in petitions for the surveillance inside, the better. It seems like she's heavily connected in that courthouse. I find it very interesting that she has an active loss. What in what world does a woman, not a part of the case, not supposed to have a connection to the family, a woman that's connected to the victim's family, has an active lawsuit against the father, the defendant of the case's father, and this same woman is known by the sheriffs. They know her behavior. And this same woman is allowed to go into the courtroom every single day and look at all of the Black faces that is covering it and target anybody that she thinks supports the family. Always in conversation with the Metcalf family. Every single morning, the sheriffs ask us if we want to go to the bathroom. They're always running to the bathroom together. In line, they're always making sure that she's making it in. They're having conversations with her. And even yesterday, there was a woman who was sitting next to the mother's boyfriend that always came in their allocated seats. When it was 2:00 when we were coming in, the woman, she has her hair was brown, but she has some grays coming in. She had a black sweater on. She was right next to the boyfriend of the mother of the victim. she's like, oh, did Sarah make it in? Like making sure that she made it in. In what world does a woman get to run clear smear campaigns to put out messaging that she's threatened, cause chaos in the courtroom, have an active lawsuit against the defendant's father, and still be permitted inside the courtroom and not be labeled as a disruptor that is banned? That sends a clear message of what we're dealing with right here. And she put out all of these things that we know that the people are watching social media. So she put out this messaging that her life was in danger, and because she's giving the facts, Karmelo Anthony supporters, it was strategic. There was several posts where she was referring to me in them, and she was labeling everything Karmelo Anthony supporter. She put in there Karmelo Anthony supporter. She's flooding it on Twitter, flooding it on TikTok. All of them, the main thing that the
pigeon toes.
She looked like that child. Anyway, so
can I say something real quick, Nick?
It sounded like it was a lot of cousins was involved, and she came from that
one
group.
thing that the prosecutor said when he was talking to the jury selection is he said, we are a really tight-knit family. Like we take care of each other. And I was like worried about how I was gonna approach you guys because we're so tight-knit. Because this is a tight-knit community, and she's putting out these messages to these people on purpose to make it seem like her life is in danger. They want me dead. She's putting out these things. I feel like that heavily influenced the verdict because these people are trying to protect the helpless white woman that's actually causing all the chaos, but they got to protect her. In addition to that, they're making it seem as though, like, you know, Karmelo Anthony supporters are out to get her. All of it was strategic.
They were dog whistles, Nick. Those were dog whistles. The prosecution put a dog whistle out to the jurors. She was an extension of the family spokespiece. If there was a gag order and he was so closely aligned with the family, the defense team should have requested a gag order on her as well, because it was obvious from what she was saying that she was communicating directly with the family and she had a close tie. So that gag order that family members were supposed to be under, she should have been under that as well. And
even in her post, she was like, I seen a community of, they were called Nova. It was some white guys that was for Austin. She was like, I contacted the Metcalf or Mr. Metcalf or something Metcalf. Like she's saying, like, I'm contacting them and asking them about it. So she has a connection to the family.
She violated the judge's order right there.
She's targeting anybody that she thinks supports Karmelo. It's just like it was the whole targeted.
She's schizophrenic. She got a lot going on. When she sounds schizophrenic.
I don't want to give her any diagnosis. I'm not diagnosing her as schizophrenic. I don't know what her.
Well, you know, it sounds.
Well.
Yeah, we got to be careful because.
Right, my bad.
I don't know what her is. I'm not diagnosing her with that. I'm not saying that she has that. I don't know her medical record. All I know is from observation, she has these, like, she walks weird and she looks like, you know, her hair needs to be washed. Like, you know, she just looks like that's all I can only go off of what I can observe, but I can't give medical diagnosis because I don't know her medical history and I don't know anything of that. So I just want to correct that. But
it was the dog whistles. It was the close alignment with the family. This is going to have to see. The thing is, the defense has to be able to raise these concerns in front of the judge. And I don't know if they did a good job at doing that, because you can't bring things up on an appeal if you didn't raise it up during the trial. And that's why I think that the defense dropped the ball on a few things. It was, and then the visual cues that the father was given to witnesses on the stand was another problem that should have been addressed. If not then in that moment, because maybe the defense was looking at the witness, not looking at what's behind. That should be something that should have been brought up to the judge at some point. And we don't know. I don't know how many sidebars there were, Neek, but we need to also know what those sidebars are moving forward. We as the public, as well as, you know, the defendant. You know, I'm sure he was told by, you know, his counsel, this is what the sidebar is. but I don't think this was the most vigorous defense possible.
No.
And I think that while people say that Mike, the attorney, is a great attorney, I didn't see that type of lawyering in this case.
It looked more like colluding to me, because I think all of them know that picture that I had seen, I think out earlier, that was on X or whatever, the picture that was showing, like, how all of them know each other, they kick it with stuff, and a lot of times they can work for.
While you're mentioning that picture, I do want to correct. We have to be factual here, because
okay.
I'm planning to hold people accountable.
Right.
So I have to be accountable and make sure that anything is factual. The picture that was posted was not the judge. That's not the judge in the case, and that's not either of the prosecutors of the case.
Thank you for clearing it up.
So I just wanted to clarify that, because we want to stick to the facts, as much as we can. But go ahead.
But this is also you got to realize something too about, I'm not sure how far this is outside of Houston or what side it's on. But Texas is very red. And then on top of it too, they have very small counties a lot of times. And a lot of times when those counties are small, I came from a very small county. Everybody know everybody. Everybody's ways right. Everybody, all of them are family. All of them are kind of like tied up into each other. So when it happened, I think that the defense was able to work from within to me. Because it seems, because I think you would have had more of a fight than what it was. I won't trust it.
But I'm still trying to give the defense a little bit of grace, because we don't know what he was up against as far as motions, things that are 403 objections and things that had already been shut down. We don't know. But Uda, they want to hear from you. So you tell what you think.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah.
First of all, salute to everybody. Panel in the chat. Salute to you, Nick, for your coverage, for standing 10 toes down. Going through all of that, not being moved when people be trying to move us and trying to shake us. It seems that we can't get our thing off and speak our piece and cover the story or do whatever we need to do. You know what I'm saying? And when I seen the little tears and all of that, that shit had me hot. So I was supposed to be down in that trial. But salute to those brothers that stepped by your side and most definitely held you down out there. Salute to all my people that was there, men and the women that was out there covering that trial. You know what I'm saying? God protect y'all still. God and protect y'all. Make sure y'all all get back home safely. You know what I'm saying? Because the hate be thick. The hate be really thick. As far as the defense goes, I don't know if he got the defense that he really needed. It seemed pretty lackluster to me. They even called one witness that said that Karmelo was guilty, basically. You know what I'm saying? So I just didn't understand what was going on with that. To hear him get 35 years was a lot. You know what I'm saying? I thought they would give him some time, but I didn't think they would give him 35 years. They basically ended his life. You know what I'm saying? Basically, with that type of a sentence, being in these jails, it's hard to make it about this. One thing is easy to get into jails. It's hard to get yourself out of prison when you're in there. You know what I'm saying? And then when you're in a place like Texas, people be racists. You know what I'm saying? So he got a uphill battle for him. You know what I'm saying? Condolences to the Metcalf family. They lost the child, regardless. You know what I'm saying? I think there's no winners in this case. I think on both sides, they both took a loss. You know what I'm saying? One lost their child and the next one lost their child to the system. You know what I mean? But I'm grateful for you being there and my people to be in there so we can see it from y'all lens and see from the inside to the outside and not have to rely on legacy media, not have to rely on the big networks to actually give us their side of this trial. You know what I'm saying? For real, man. It's just a trying day today. You know what I mean? My emotions been all over this place. You know what I mean? How fast they deliberated on that. You know what I'm saying? Under 3 hours, they came back with that. And then they came back and gave him 35. It seemed like that jury knew what they wanted to do with Anthony, man. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just a real sad day. You know what I mean? For real.
Yeah. Seti Nash posted a video. Somebody got arrested outside of the courthouse. Let's take a look at it. I just seen it go across my timeline. But let me play this really quick, and then we'll hear from everybody else. Let's see what this is given.
He murdered that kid.
He assaulted that fucking man. He came out here raised banging and he pushed him. Hey, what's sitting in there? Sit Karmelo ass.
Wait. Hey, tell I support Mr. Bell, yeah. Tell the Bell, yeah.
All that coonery going on in the background is just disgusting.
That
was never some black people saying, put him in the cell with Carmelo's at. I tell you, boy,
that's crazy.
Put some butter on those biscuits, and they were definitely cooning right there. Like, what the heck we got going on there? And I'm not going to talk about black media that was fighting against, or I won't say as aggressively as fighting against, but definitely wasn't understanding the assignment. And you can report fairly, but you also have to be someone that hold those that you are aligning with accountable. You know, like I mean, that media outlets reported Jake Lang calling for the hanging of people from that press out there, Nick.
I wasn't keeping up, so I can't really tell you because I wasn't keeping up with what they was reporting. I was just relying on my own notes.
Crazy, bro. But this shows us, man, we got to be together, man. Every day, man, we got to be together. We be against each other for the simplest of things, just for some foolishness. It shows us, man, we got to be together, man. And one thing we got to protect is all of our children out here, man, because all of our children matter out here, for real, for real. We got to be standing by each other and not just letting things happen and just turning the other eye and turning no cheeks to nothing. We need to be stepping up and standing up for each other out here, for real. When it comes to other people, they look at us all the same. Even if we want to see the differences within each other, man, they look at us all the same, man. So we need to get on code with each other, for real, man. Straight up.
Yeah, and at a very young age, you know, certain, you know, karate and certain self-defense things are expensive, but if you have the allocated funds to add that into your budget for the month, put your kids in these trainings. Like, they're putting their kids through these combat courses, these trainings, and we naturally have athleticism and we naturally are just gifted with certain things, but it doesn't hurt to put them in the necessary things, because this is definitely sending a clear message. This is definitely showing you who the rules apply for and who they don't. If the situation was reversed, there wouldn't even been a charge. You know what I mean? Like, there wouldn't even been a charge. So we know how we got to do things. We got to keep it by the book. But if we are presented in a do or die situation, do what you got to do. Okay. I'm not never saying back down to a fuck ass threat to your life. However, outside of a physical threat, we got to do things by the book. Okay. They love doing things by the book. They hide the best information in the book. We got to hold these people accountable for what they're doing, what they're putting us through. This is, a situation that there was injustice before it even started, even for the fact of how they vetted the media. I don't give a fuck if legacy media has been around. There's new media out there and there's independent journalists. The fact that there wasn't an independent source that can be a position, because independent media, like the 9 credentialed media, they didn't have to do that rat race of fighting for a spot, going through sleep deprivation, making sure that they got up at the crack of dawn to be at the courthouse because nobody's honoring the 6 a.m. curfew. I honored it up until it didn't apply to anybody else. Like, I'm following the rules, but if the rules don't apply to nobody else and they only apply to me, then we getting in line to make sure that we have a seat in there. But even down to how everything was done, one independent voice should have been able to have a secured spot. We were running off of no sleep, like no sleep. And it was like a real grind to make sure, like, me getting into that court every single day was nothing but God. On Friday, when there was a wreck that allowed me to put in reverse, because if there was no wreck, I was fucked to get in on Friday. But because, like, and it's fucked up because those people came before me, but they got caught up by the wreck. God let me in there to be in that court every single day up until the only day that I wasn't inside the courtroom was today for safety reasons. But I was at that courthouse. I heard every single testimony. I seen every single witness. I was there for jury selection. I was there for every single testimony. God led me and made sure that I was there every single day. Like, I don't even know how. I'm like, you know, I'm just thugging it, like, not thugging it like that, but, you know, it's our vernacular. But
Thugging your way through, you know what we mean.
Like, I'm keeping up, like, you know, I'm making sure that I'm getting up in there or whatever. And on 2 hours of sleep, maybe on a good night, maybe 3, but it's not even a good sleep because you're so worked up and it's so stressful that you don't want to oversleep, and you got to make sure that you get up and, you know, like, and able to be in there. And then once you get in there, like, you realize, like, it's us versus everybody. Like, before I came down here, I had a conversation with my cousin. I was like, you know, I'm seeing some racial stuff online. I'm really concerned about my safety. And I have come to for, I don't know how many times I've come to Texas. But I was having a conversation with Dennis, and I'm like, Dennis, I want to make sure that I'm protected out there. I'm on the phone with Dennis, and I'm like, I got to figure out the rules to bring your strap. I've come to Texas. I've been a legal gun owner since 2020.
I told you, bring it. Don't play around.
And I talked to you too, and then you were like, bring your strap. I'm talking to Dennis. I'm like, Dennis, I think I'm gonna have to bring my gun because I really don't know. Like, you know, so I'm looking up the rules, you know, like how do I bring it on the plane, and what do I have to do, and, you know, what specific case I gotta have, and, you know, whoop. Like, I've never felt like I needed to do that. Like, even though, like, anytime I go somewhere, I want to make sure I'm protected, but I just always just was covered by God, like, whenever I'm away from home. But this was the first time where I'm like, going through the steps. I'm at the front desk. I'm putting in a firearm declaration and making sure that, you know, I'm protected, and making sure that I got, you know, everything I need, and making sure my shit is with me whenever I'm, you know, whatever. But it's like, I've never felt like I had to do that. But then it's like, even still, I don't have it in my, like, I would never be reckless. These people were trying to create a moment, and they want you to give them a reason. So I never brung my shit out of the car. I never brandished it, or never, you know, anything like that. But they would purposely, like, put it on them and flash it, and, you know, try to do the whole thing to get a rise, and it just is crazy.
You stood 10 toes down, though, man. You stood 10 toes down. Shout out. They be thinking our sisters is weak. They're gonna figure it out.
No,
they're gonna find out. Thinking our sisters is weak. You remember I was talking to you on the phone. I said, bring that thing. Don't play around with nobody. Getting around these spaces, people playing. Make sure you protected. Point blank. Period. That's why I hurt my heart when I seen you. I wasn't out there. I'm like, yo, bruh. God's so great. He covered you, kept you safe. Sent some people around you to cover you, and you also had some other energy around you too. So salute to that, man. Salute to you, Neek, man. I'm proud of you, man, for your coverage and standing 10 toes down. That's what we need to see. And you went live right after that, and you was back up live, and they ain't stopped that. And I love that. I love that you did that, and you was right back live, and then nobody stopped nothing. No Karen Nobody hating, trying to make it about them. It ain't about you. It's about two children, really. One lost his life and one damn near lost his life to the system right now. And people up there making it about them. It's not about you, man. It's not about you. Stop clout chasing and trying to be a damn victim all the time, man. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, but I mean, it's deeper than her being a victim. It's coordinated smear campaigns on purpose. Like trying to put like no matter how much a judge says, don't read social media, don't read the facts about the case. They're listening to facts like, you know, their husbands or family are saying like, oh, I read this. Like, that's not them looking it up. Oh, look at how they're treating poor bimbo. You know, like, oh my God, like they're listening to these things. Why do you think in closing arguments, the prosecution mentioned that there wasn't 4 boys that jumped him when that never came out through testimony? Because they know that they're looking at social media. They know that they're being influenced by stuff on social media. So she purposely put these fake imaginary threats on social media. She purposely was there, you know, in the court. Like it was all like, I was looking at the way that stuff was going. I was just like, it was so overwhelming. Like you guys don't even understand, like just the emotion, like the fear that my mom had because I wanted to go back to the court today. My mom was petrified. Please don't go. Please. Like, I'm like, no, Mom, I need to finish out what I got to do. Like the fear that my mom had for my life, my uncle who, you know, he, you know, got me regardless. He like, oh, my granddaddy telling me, you know, don't go. And, you know, like people are literally fearing for my life, which is causing me to not be able to do my job, to where I'm just like, you know what, if in order for me to get into the courtroom, I'm telling my cousin, I said, you know, I really want to go and like, I want to finish what I started regardless. I said, but the only drawback is in order for me to get in the courtroom tomorrow, I got to be at that lot at 3 a.m. I said, people that showed up the day before were there at 4 a.m. I got there and I was already number like 20 something. I said, so if I want to make it in that courtroom, I got to get an hour ahead of that and at least come at 3. You heard the man that was on my live. He got there. He texted me on DM at 3:11 and he said, hey, it's already 26 in line. Where you at? 3:11. So at that time, it would have been pitch black outside. It would have been dark. And my cousin was like, nah, it ain't worth it. Like
it was Milwaukee.
Like, you know,
it's Milwaukee. People coming taking pictures of you and all type of weirdo. It was a lot of weird energy up there. It was a lot of weird energy.
Right. And it's like, she's like, we know that the girl that's doing all that, like, she's like, you can look at her and tell, like, she's a fucking coward. Like in the courtroom, she would be shaking in her boots, like, just, you know, like, girl, fucking like the most coward of the coward. It's like, I'm not afraid of her, but I'm afraid of the people that hate people that she empowers with her voice. You get what I'm saying? Like, she's a coward. Like when I made it a point not to like really be looking at her too much, but even like the times that I did, like I could just look at her and tell, like, you're a fucking coward. Like you cannot carry out anything on your own. Like I'm not afraid of her, but I'm afraid of the racists that she rouse up, the racists that she kind of amps up to carry out her dirty work. Like she'll never do it herself. What she will do is incite you to get targeted and incite them to kind of like, you know, come after you. Like she was posting this guy that was a Proud Boy on her page, like, and all her fans try to act like she's not associated with Proud Boys, but yet the day after I put her on notice saying that I'm not gonna go for a defamation, the same guy that she's parading on her social media is there staring me down, trying to like flex, you know, and like, and she's acting like they want me. Like all of these things is so crafted that you know,
scary. It's scary. That's why I fired up alive. I was like, listen, y'all get up on them people channel. What you talking about? We banging back. People on your chat. We gonna stick together. Point blank. Period. That's one thing about these haters. Them people is thick and they together in a one hating motion. But nah, we banging back, bro. We not just rolling around letting people think what they want to do to us, disrespecting us, trying to take advantage of our sisters and all type of things. We're not dealing with that. What year y'all think this is? 1846? Days is over. We're not dealing with that no more, bro. It's over. Straight.
And Nick, I wanted to say to you, to hear all that you had to go through to bring us this story, it even states to me more that we just don't know the logistics of everything that Karmelo and his defense team, if they were doing that to you, trying, you know what I mean? And like, we couldn't even see inside the courtroom and see like facial expressions, the intimidation of it all. To me, it solidifies like, yeah, the chips were stacked against him from the jump. And so I'm sorry that you had to go through that, and I'm glad that you made it up out of there and that you gave us the story with no chaser and giving it to us like how it is. And this mutilated face heathen, whoever she is, you know, she needs to know that you got your own community around you, and we rallying, we sticking together over here, and we going in comments and everything. And I wanted to say this before I forget about it, so I can get up off here. When the young man was saying, we gotta, you know, basically he was saying that we gotta, you know, not give them what they want and this, that, and third. Where that's getting us? I'm sorry, but where is that getting us? We just like how the man in the office right now. We gotta fight fire with fire, because these people is not going for that cookie cutter. Oh, we gotta do that. Yeah, I understand we have to follow the law and everything, but when it comes to them talking crazy and brandishing things, if we legal to carrying this, that, and third, I'm gonna let you know that I'm home too, and I'm gonna let you know that I can protect myself too and my family. So,
facts.
Yeah,
and they think our sisters is weak. They think our sisters is some chumps or something. Okay. Yeah.
But the thing is, but it shows how much chumps they are, because it's not the women of their movement confronting women. They need men to target us. Like the women are like, you know what I mean? They need men. We're not physically able to take on a man. So they need men to kind of, you know, come after us.
Fight their battles for them. Fight their battles, basically.
When we fight our battles on our own throughout our own community and just in life in general, right? So we covered by God to know that like everything's going to be on our side when we have to use excessive force, or you know, well, as far as like trying to protect ourselves, but the law wise, no, that's not the case, and that's why it hurts even so more about the situation, because it's like we literally cannot even go to a game. We literally can't even go outside and let our son play without a nosy white looking and staring and making little innuendos and everything else for us to feel uncomfortable. It's like we constantly walking around uncomfortable in life. And if you feel like you have to protect yourself, then we're the bad person. They play victim all the time. And I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of the whites playing victim and saying the nasty and just despicable things that they are on social media saying, and trying to make it seem like this boy was from the hood and he was a gangbanger and this, that, and third. That boy came from a 2-parent home, and he was basically like a pinned up little boy compared to, you know, a boy from the streets of Philly. You know what I mean? He was not one of them. And he did not deserve to be getting jumped on and then not be able to protect himself. Oh my goodness, the young man lost his life. Okay, cool. He shouldn't have did things too. And maybe Karmelo, he wouldn't have had a knife if they weren't already in the midst of bullying him. I'm tired of the victimization of these whites. I'm just tired of it. And it's so disgusting and it's so nasty. And it's very frustrating. And I feel like I'm related to these people, and I just be going in the comments just cussing everybody. I can't help myself, but yes. But thank you, Neek, for letting me on your live. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you for coming up. Is there anybody else who wanted to say anything?
Jackie T, Miss J, Miss J on here.
Go ahead. Is there anybody else?
Okay, thanks. Thank you for giving us the play-by-play and the transcripts every day. It means a lot to us. This is Jackie. I wanted to say that we needed a black on the jury, or some blacks on the jury, and some on the defensive team. Now, did you see any on the defensive team?
What do you mean?
Any like assistant attorneys for the defense that were black?
Everybody was white.
Okay, the reason why I asked is because our
Dr.
culture
Lincoln
is
didn't.
different. Oh, okay.
Sorry, Ms. J.
That's okay. Because our culture is different. Like, let's see, white folks would say, don't touch me. Please don't touch me. Don't push me. You don't have to do that. And we're different. We say, I wish you would. You know, they had a little thing on social media going around about how we say the same thing, but it just sounds different.
Right.
And they used our jargon and our speech against us. So they said he was provoking Austin, but he wasn't provoking Austin. That's just how we talk. I wish you would hit me. I wish you really don't want him to hit you. You know, the boy nervous. He got all these people surrounded around him, but that's how we talk. And nobody on the defensive team, I mean, you gave some really good notes every single day and I listened to them, but nobody on the defensive team said, hey, that's how they talk in their culture, or we talk in our culture, because they used it as he was provoking them, and that's just how we react. And I also saw that where you mentioned that a witness said that everything was fine under the tent until, I don't know if the twin said it or Austin, but somebody asked another question about him and he didn't want to answer the question. So when he decided he didn't want to answer the question, that's when they told him to leave the tent. They didn't tell him to leave the tent just walking up on him. They said when he first got there, everything was cool. So
the only problem that they had with him being there was Hunter and Austin speaking on him. Other than that, none of the other kids had an issue with it.
No, but I'm talking about when he first said something to him. One of the witnesses said that Austin or the twin said something to him and he responded. And then he asked him a question and Karmelo didn't feel like answering that question. He didn't answer it. He said something like none of your business or something. Do you remember that? Like it was
like, I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody.
Yeah, that's what it was. So he offended one of the twins. So they felt like, okay, now you got to go. But before they didn't say go that I know of with your notes that you gave us. So my thing is, why didn't the defense hammer that home? That it was only because he didn't answer his question. Let me tell you something. When we move in a new neighborhood, we don't go to nobody's house knocking on the door, giving apple pies and all this stuff. We don't play that stuff. But they don't understand our culture. Our culture, we don't stick our neck out. You got to come to us, and we got to really want to invite you in, because we don't invite everybody in. And I don't think he was being rude. It's just how our culture is. And another thing, I felt like his back was against the wall because he had all those people all around him. And I know they all said this, but I think the defense should have hammered home that he knew his 130-pound fist wasn't going to help him with no 200-pound boys and his friends with him. Right. So that's why he pulled out the knife. And I really do believe that he had a knife with him just in case something happened. You know how like nowadays at school, you don't know if somebody going to come in there and shoot. You don't know if somebody going to do something at the track meet, but he might not have came in that entrance. I was in track. My daughter was in track. My granddaughter was in track, and they come in a completely different entrance than the public. So that weapons thing is for the public because the kids, you know, they don't have to worry about that. So I bet you they don't even have a sign over there by the entrance where the athletes come in. And if they don't have a sign by the entrance where the athletes come in, guess what? The defensive attorney should have brought that up. He should have brought that up that maybe the sign wasn't over there on his side where his team came in. Also, about the knife, they said it was a big knife, but then later on they said it was a 3-something-inch blade. And boys, just like, bless his heart, Cyrus, they have something sometime and they don't want people to know they have it. And then by the time that people find out they have it, they like, oh my God. Right before they find out they have it, they try to either run or flee. And that boy was at a fight or flight type thing right there when it happened, when they all ganged up on him. So the only thing he had outside of his fist was a knife. Now, no, he wasn't supposed to kill him, but guess what? He didn't want to kill him because when the cop mentioned it to him that when he said, "What is he okay?" or something like that, and the cop said something like he might have died or he could, you know, you could have killed him. I know what it was. It was the coach. The coach told him, say, "Man, you know, you could have killed him." And he said, No, he not dead because he never tried to kill the boy, but he was gonna get him off of him. He done pushed him. And that's all he wanted to do. He did not want to kill him. And for some reason, I don't see anything where defense really brought that home. They might have mentioned it, but they supposed to land on it because those dudes kept landing on provoking language and nobody said, hey, that's just how we talk. That's just this thing. When you say do, we say don't, and they mean the same thing, believe it or not. So that's all I wanted to bring up. And thank you so much for the transcripts because I kept going to you and a couple of other people trying to get the transcript because everybody else was giving a summary. And you were actually giving us word by word. And that judge knew what he was doing. He knew not to put that, make it public. But I wonder if they're ever going to make that transcript available. Do you know?
The lawyers are able to get the transcripts. It's up to, I don't know if they'll put in a gag order for them not to release it or not. But the lawyers have it. If there's any of the lawyers, I know we didn't badmouth the defense, but
no, we're trying to help them for next time. We're telling them
if you would like to provide our transcript, a copy, Nick, you can send
they're
it to my
sealed.
email.
People are saying that they're sealed.
Okay.
That all of the information, including the transcripts, are sealed, which is weird.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But the lawyers do have the transcript. The lawyers do.
But you can best believe they're going to be going to your transcripts, trying to go day by day like you did. And I appreciate it. And let me tell you, the feelings that you were feeling the other day when they were giving you a hard time, guess what? Karmelo was going through the same thing under that tent. He had the whole world against him, even his friend that he didn't taking pictures with in his room, taking guitar pictures, going to 80-year-old grandma birthday parties. His friend stood up there acting like he was filming, which I still believe he was filming. He just got rid of the tape, and and the cop didn't do a good enough sweep of his phone. But everybody turned against him, so his back was against the wall, and I bet you he was feeling just like you were feeling in that car. So God bless the Karmelo family. I'm sorry about Austin
anything like I felt, because how I felt was the police ain't gonna protect me,
right?
And that was before the Black Panther came. Like I just gotta get to my shit. Like I gotta protect myself.
And guess what? His stuff was in his bag right there.
Right. And so what I was thinking was, so I'm thinking wondering if he felt like, the school ain't gonna protect me. I gotta protect myself, because in that moment I knew that the sheriffs wasn't gonna protect me. The whole time they was saying like they didn't give it in, basically.
Basically.
I've like decorum of the court extends outside of the court. If there was anybody causing as much of a disruption as the woman that they were allowing in, they would have been banned a long time ago for target media, and that would have that would never fly in nobody's courtroom. But that's how you know the fix was in.
But a small town is always like that. They always interconnected. Everything. I bet you, man, like when they mentioned the pediatrician, one of the witnesses was the pediatrician for the twins. And I'm like, he ain't gonna say nothing crazy, because after court is over, all those children have to go back to school. And I bet you it took them years to be friends with those bullies. And all of a sudden they on the good bully side, on the bad bully side. And then here come this guy coming up here who is his friend, but he didn't speak up for him. And let me tell you something. He's gonna have to live with that the rest of his life too.
That's sad.
Yeah. Let me say this. First of all, I like this.
I don't want to go over 3 hours, so
thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
First of all, I like to say shout out to Queen Sheba and Nick and Knight for being the Ida B. Wells of this new generation for this trial.
Pretty Girl too. Yeah, Pretty Girl did it too.
And Pretty Girl, all of the women who stepped up, and any of the people who stepped up and were our independent media, because we would not know what we know. Of course, now we know with transcripts and things being sealed if it weren't for them. And the second thing is that although there is a small town connection, it's bigger than a small town connection. This is a very political driven agenda. The small town is connected to a group of another group of bigger groups. And you can, if you just look up the names of those people, like the Penguin and then the Jake Lang, you'll see that they're connected. Jake Lang was in the January 6th, and he was pardoned by Trump. And, now they're trying to give those people reparations. So this is a political thing. Like I said, we want to keep our focus on Karmelo Anthony to make sure that he could get a new trial and make sure that, and hopefully this time it won't be in that, hopefully it won't have to be in the state of Texas. But if so, we want to make sure that it's not in that town, and we want to make sure that he gets proper representation. We need to start checking the affiliations of the people that represent us, and jurisdiction matters as well. We have to check our representatives and the jurisdiction, and we need to be more active when it comes down to voting and politically, especially on our local level, and local level all the way up, because this is it, although justice for Karmelo Anthony, and and I have to say rest in peace to Austin Metcalf as well, and condolences to his family. But this is bigger than Karmelo. Like I said, we do want to keep the focus on Karmelo.
I want to be clear to say his name right, because it's
Karmelo, my bad. Karmelo. I don't know why I was saying that. But Karmelo, this is bigger than Karmelo. Karmelo as well. And we have to play chess, and we have to we have to learn law, utilize the legal game. We have to utilize our legal rights, the Constitution, and things of that nature. We need to educate ourselves about our rights and make sure that our rights are being exercised when it comes down to anything. And that's all I have to say. I'm sorry that you went through that, Neek. And if you do decide to take anything any further, like I said, jurisdiction matters, and make sure that you research your representatives. And that's all I have to say. I've landed my plane. Thank you.
Much. I appreciate the shout out. I appreciate all the love and support. I appreciate all the kind words. And yes, research will be had, meetings will be had, accountability will be had.
Amen.
I'm not playing. I don't give a damn what is going on with nobody else, but we're going to stick to the facts. We're going to hold those accountable. And the fact that the sheriffs allowed a person to instigate, like, it's one thing that, you don't want to get into social media beef or drama, but to give the impression that that is welcomed and like, oh, it's okay, that sets a dangerous precedent. And it just was very clear about how this happened to Karmelo and what message they were sending. That it's very clear that the prosecution knew that the jurors were looking at things happening on social media by commenting on a rumor that was posted on social media that he was jumped, and making sure to address something that the jury should have never known about, to even ponder, because it didn't come up in trial. So all of these things are deliberately done. And if the Anthony family, I'm going to take y'all down real quick because I want to end with that. Thank you. Shout out to you, Uda. Shout out to anybody else. And to the Anthony family, my heart goes out to you. I saw you guys literally on edge every single day. I could not imagine sending my child to school, my child deciding to defend herself against bullies, that the evidence, even if every student's testimony was different, what was clear in all of their testimonies and their descriptions was bullying. And I cannot imagine that my kid get bullied and taunted by little punk kids. And because of peer pressure and the fact that if you don't stop a bully in its tracks, and the fact that there's so many instances of children fighting in school without weapons and hitting their heads and dying, the fact that your son lost his life, I could not imagine the system railroading my child and how I feel in that moment. And I just want to send my deepest like prayers to you and comfort in this time. If there is anything that you need from me, not monetary wise now, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got it. But if there's anything that you need from me, let me know. My social medias are Neek at Night here on YouTube. My Instagram is neek@night_. My email and things are accessible on my Instagram. So if there's anything that you need, let me know. I'm going to be here for you guys. I'm sure that you witnessed and observed the intimidation tactics. I'm sure that you guys witnessed and observed all of the things happening. And I just don't think that any of this is right at all. I don't sit like, it just does not give me a good feeling in my stomach. Before I came to cover this, I made sure not to reach out to anybody in the Anthony family. I already knew there was a gag order anyways. So the fact that one media person is able to reach out to one side of the family is interesting, but I made sure to follow the rules. I didn't reach out to you guys. But I would like to have a conversation when you're ready. I know this is a lot, but just, and not right now, because you got a lot to process, but whenever you feel like, you know what, I want to speak. I love to hear from you guys. My platform is always open. I feel so bad for you guys. Like, I don't care what nobody think. The fix was in before it even started. And to see all of those pictures and accolades and see how a good boy ended up in a situation that the scenario would not be the same if the color of his skin was not like that, just because you wanted to provide a better life for him. In the testimony, they said that the reason why you guys moved here was because you wanted a better life for your son. I cannot imagine thinking, hey, I'm moving from Baton Rouge. I'm providing a better life for my kid and trying to provide a better life, and the odds just get stacked up, and you're reminded that racism is very prominent, and you're reminded how things are. Now, I'm a person, like I said, I grew up in California. I know that racism is real. Like, I've experienced the racism, but I'm a 39-year-old woman. In my years, I have never experienced it to this degree. Like, it just was felt, like the tension was felt, like it just opened. Like, when I went to school in a very diverse school, right? There was as much whites as there were black. There was as much Asian as there were Hispanic. And I had a friend group of all black kids. However, I had friends that weren't black as well, but my core friend group was black. And I love that for myself, that I grew up around culture, right? When you grow up around culture, you're able to give beauty tips, or when you're able to give like history, or you can understand each other. And I appreciate the era that I grew up in, where I was in a diverse school, but my friends were black. And I feel like that shaped who I was. And I couldn't imagine me trying to say, like, looking up and saying, like, you know what, I'm going to provide a better life for my kid and go somewhere and the odds be like this. Like, I just couldn't imagine. And even now I feel for my daughter, fear for my daughter, because even though she's growing up around the same area, the diversity is not there anymore. Like, because California is so high, it's not a lot of black kids that are in these schools. And I'm not in an affluent neighborhood or anything like that. So it's like, my daughter, even though she's growing up in the same like area, is not getting the same school experience that I got. Like, it's mostly like, before it was a mix. It's like you have Hispanic, you have white, you have Asian, but now it's like 80% Hispanic and 20% everything else, so even with that demographic, she's not even getting the same experience that I got. And I feel like being around your people is important. Being around culture is important. Understanding the complexities of these things is very important. Knowing if you are Black, that you're Black first. Like, I can never, like, these Uncle Toms that you see around here, like, I could never imagine, like, not, like, waking up and begging for somebody else's approval, like another race's approval. And that's not me saying that I don't, like, value other races. Like, I have still friends that are white, Hispanic, Asian. I have friends that are every single race. I have good friends, actually, like years long friends. But at the end of the day, I'm Black first. And I could just never imagine what is to come for our kids. I can never imagine a lot. Like, I don't know. I'm just, as a mom, like, my eyes were open in different ways from watching this case. My perception of my Blackness heightened. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, damn, we really intimidate these people. Like, something about us, our culture, like, really bothers them. And it made me proud to be Black, even on a even higher level. And I don't know, I just feel like just this whole experience was eye-opening. It was humbling. It was life-changing, because, like, my perception has changed, like, and I'm not afraid to say, like, my perception has changed. Like, my experience down here has changed my outlook on things, like, where I've been like, oh, like, being understanding and humble. It's like, no, these people fucking hate us. They fucking hate us. And so, you know, it's that nigga fucking wake up call, like that fucking, you know, that wake up call that it's like, girl, wait, like, no. Somebody said, stop caring what they think. It's not that. It's just realizing where we are, like, in 2026 and what the climate is. And, you know, I don't know. That's all I have to say. My heart goes out to the Anthony family. I couldn't imagine how this whole experience has been for you guys. I could not imagine a good boy who made a mistake, who life has just been discarded. I just couldn't imagine. And I'm not apologetic for how I feel. I stand on that. Anybody feel offended? Somebody in the comments said, you're so racist. Well, if me being proud to be Black and me realizing that there is a huge hate for us makes me racist, I don't know what to tell you. I'm Black first, period. And this experience has made me appreciate the different things. And I stand on that. I don't care. Like, I literally don't care who feels a way about it. If you feel like that makes me racist because I'm proud of who I am, then, hey, it is what it is. With that being said, I will conclude this live. If there's anybody who wants me to go through Eddie's testimony, let me know, because I did not make a video for that specifically. I still can make a video and bring up everything that he said and everything like that. I can do that. But y'all let me know what y'all think, and I'll talk to y'all on the next video. Bye.